Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Gamer Issei got Harem. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. When I left the academy I walked all over looking for the nun on the radar. It was something quite interesting. Again, I was more than surprised that this was real, but while I was walking through the city I found a somewhat strange girl, black hair, purple eyes, a great body and a kind look. When I saw her I blushed, not because she saw her, but because she was watching me. Even with this power, it was still difficult for me to deal with people, especially pretty girls, but while I was thinking about it, the gamer system warned me of something. Alert decision-making required. What do you mean by decision-making? As you advance in your daily life you will find some decisions that you must make. If it is good you will obtain experience and additional rewards, but if the decision is bad you will obtain negative karma. Tell me something. If I make bad decisions I can be a villain. Exact. Now take the decision in my vision. Two decisions appeared. 1. Talk to the fallen angel and create an alliance. 2. Fight and kill the fallen angel. The truth is I was never one of those who would hit a girl, and if I can find a way to solve this without fighting I will do it. So I approached her, who began the approach and greeted me. Hello, you are Issei Hyodo, right? That's right, and you are? I'm sorry, my name is Yuma Amano. I see that Yuma-san. How do you know me if I can know? Well, you are very interesting, but I think the best thing in these cases is to be honest. You don't think the same, Issei-kun? I guess it's true, but tell me what's happening, Yuma-san. First I have to ask you a question. You know I'm a fallen angel, right? Since we are honest, yes I know, but what about that? I am looking for people with special abilities like you. Why are you looking for them? Look, I have been watching you for many months since there is a fallen angel with the longing to kill humans with those powers, but my leader Azazel anticipated everything and divided a small group of fallen angels to take care of those humans for the most part. I guess you are something like my guardian angel, right? Something like that, but now I have to look for a blonde girl with green eyes. I think she is a nun. It is necessary to protect her at any cost. Why are you telling me this? You know I'm a normal human. Don't act. I saw how you fought against that demon from the Citri clan. You also have a slight aura of power. Help me save the nun, please. Well, I can do it, but how will I know that you are not using me when I said that? An emote with Yuma's face and a charisma or confidence bar appeared on my right side of vision. Apparently this shows the level of my interactions or relationships. So Yuma's was at 50%, so when I saw it at the eyes I told him, confide in Yuma's. You really will ease? Of course. But well, the nun is not in town yet. But we can watch together from now on. You are inviting me to patrol, you and I alone. Yes, only if you want. You really are very sweet, okay? I accept what you think. If we meet tomorrow at this time to patrol. Be perfect. We'll see you tomorrow, Yuma-san. We'll see you, Issei-san. So she left, but then I walked directly to my house to continue reviewing my other settings in the manual. It seems I can do many more things like using armor or some items. Well, apparently there weren't many missions at the time, so I turned on my computer and I looked for weapons, swords, axes, spears, etc. in anime, since apparently I can create those weapons like an imitator, but having the skill at such a low level I can't do such strong things, but trying gave me quite a bit of confidence that I was able to create some swords with some magic. Although now something strange happened when I returned home, and that was some kind of extra which said, Story of all three factions has been unlocked. When I saw the title I was curious what were the three factions that have happened in this world, and more importantly I want to get some answers. But well, I put on the video and before the story started they showed me the categorization and definition of the factions. 1. Demons. They are led by 4 Maos, Demon Kings, Lucifer, Asmodeus, Leviathan, and Beelzebub. Within the demons there are categories that are proportional to the power and prestige of the demons. Are the lower class, who are the vast majority of demons, so to speak normal people without a little noble BLD or power, followed by the middle class demons, a strength superior to the lower class and a little authority but nothing interesting until we reached the upper class strong demons, and with a set of servants. It was something quite interesting, but the other files were locked too. Angelus, before the biblical God, led them, but he had 4 very strong seraphim, their commanders Michael, Raphael, Uriel and Gabriel. The same thing happened with the demons. They were categorized by low, middle and high class angels, but nothing important since the information was blocked. 3. fallen angels expelled from heaven for their lust or for giving weapons to man are 1,000 former angels known as the Grigories commanded by their cadres Azazel, Shemhazai, Baraquil, Kokabil and Penemu along with other less important cadres are researchers and warriors in and of themselves. They sound like a neutral faction and are categorized the same as the other two factions, same locked files. The important thing is that at least I know the basics, but now if the video talked about the three factions being rivals since the three used humans as some warriors or front forces, others used them to obtain prayers or things for that reason the war a difference of interests between the previous leaders, so a war that took millennia was carried out causing thousands of deaths in the three factions. But something interesting too. Idiotic dragons, the white and the red, faced the three factions and although they lost, they were impressive but the video ended after that. Apparently I still lack experience to know more but now I was calmer. While playing video games when you defeat a strong or new enemy you normally get a skill or a reward for doing so and apparently that's what happened when you killed Donaseek. Some extra items appeared in what seemed to be my inventory and these were some grimoires with properties basics of light. I used a little time in my training room or as the system calls it the time room to read those grimoires and practice for about 10 months but when I finished I noticed how Yuma-san was asleep in my bed. They will ask why I cured her with the hermit seeds, but in this game, so to speak, they do not remove the fatigue, that is, the wounds left fatigue in Yuma's body, which is why she is sleeping while I trained a little, but when I finished training I stayed watching her. And using my right hand I caressed her soft hair so that she unconsciously smiled at me and I couldn't help but smile at her too. But while that was happening the night came and I had to sleep sitting in the chair since Yuma-san was in bed and I didn't want to bother her. Time skip. Tomorrow I got up very early and prepared my clothes. I also blocked the door to my room so that my mother wouldn't come in and discover Yuma, so I took a bath, got dressed and went out to try to wake her up little by little. She was a heavy sleeper so waking her up was difficult even if I managed it, and she woke up in a very tender way. Yuma, thanks for taking care of me. Issei, don't worry, Yuma-san, I hope you're okay. Yes, I feel very good. But what day is it today, Issei-kun? Today is Friday. And I said I wasn't going to go to class today. Why don't you go to class today? Well, I think I worry more about you but I don't want to leave you alone. She remained silent for a few seconds. I thought I had upset her or offended her with something, but she hugged me while she told me. You are very tender, thank you for worrying. So, when she finished hugging me, she told me to give her a few minutes to get ready. I made sure the second floor, which is mine, was unoccupied so she could have her time. In short, we finished in about 40 minutes to leave the house in the morning. Window of my room and as we flew, Yuma was carrying Issei. She asked me, tell me Issei-kun, since this is like a date where you will take me. The truth is I never had a date. I'm sorry about that, don't worry but I think I can use everything I planned for my first date. I will be ready Issei-kun. Well, the truth is, I don't want to narrate the date because the truth is that this Issei's personality is that of a shy and hurt boy. But in the course of the time that Yuma and Issei have been together, he has found feelings of love for her, which is why he dates her now. We will pass it at the end of this. Yuma, it was a great date. Issei, I'm glad you liked it. Then I looked down to look elsewhere but Yuma grabbed my face and raised it so I could see her face. Then she told me with a smile, don't worry, it was a great date and like a great date it deserves a great ending. She approached and kissed my lips so I went into a romantic shock with a big blush. The kiss lasted about 10 seconds and Yuma told me, you know, I never had a boyfriend or a love interest. You are the person I gave my first kiss to. Wait Yuma-san, what are you saying? You are very slow Issei. She came up blushing and put her head on my chest to say words I thought I would never hear. I like you Issei-kun. I checked an icon that appeared in my vision to see how Yuma-san's affection meter was at 100%. Then my system showed the decision 1. Take the initiative and establish the relationship with Yuma-san that will make her become the main companion of your party and you gain experience. 2. Abandon the relationship and escape. You lose experience and charisma decreases to 50%. The truth is, the decision was very obvious but I was afraid of making a mistake. But, like in every video game, in a mission with a special reward I will take the risk, so I caressed Yuma-san's head and a few seconds later I looked her in the eyes and told her, I also like Yuma-san a lot. The two of us kissed again but something strange happened and that is that 2 demon girls showed up according to my gamer system. They were the Gremory heiress and the Citri heiress who were very angry about the presence of the fallen angels. It was something acceptable because of the battles recent between the three factions. Issei, what are you doing with a fallen angel? The truth is, she is my friend and I would appreciate it if you were not hostile towards her. Tell me, do you know we are at war with the factions? That's right, but she's different. She doesn't seek to kill or start a war with anyone. To the end, this is the territory of Issei demons, so the mere presence of a fallen angel in the city is an act that can start a war. Very good, then let's do this. Give us a little time, we will finish the Yuma mission and we will retire. We will retire. Why would you go with her? Don't tell me that you plan to join the fallen angels. The truth is not only that I will leave Kwa to find my way. Wait, you'll leave my side, Issei-kun. Not yet, but I will soon. I need to know what to do with what I have, what my purpose is. Will you let me go with you on that trip, Issei? If that is what you want, but at this moment, Heiress Gremory and Citri, I ask for your patience to complete the mission. The two heiresses looked at me and responded at the same time. We will give you that time, but Issei, think about what you will do. Your parents will suffer for your loss. Issei, I know, but it is necessary to find my way. Thank you for your patience. Now Yuma, let's go home. She took my hand and we flew with her wings again, but she was nervous about my trip, although the truth is it's something I have to do alone, so first I'll finish off that murderer before leaving. Issei's house. The house was empty, but there was a letter on the table that said, Issei, we went to a conference abroad. It will be for about 5 months while we do business, but in the account you have $5,000 every month. We will transfer the same amount to your account. We will call you every day. Your parents love you. Kwa City. 3 months after the whole problem with Kokabila Azazel. Well, since we are gathered together, the leaders of the 3 powers and the representatives of this territory, think it is time to start. Michael, I agree, but why did you bring that fallen angel with you, Azazel? She didn't want to tell me, she just asked to come and I left her. Surzex, well, no problem, but we don't need our most important guest. At that, everyone except the VIPs became very strange, since it was only a meeting between heaven, the underworld and Grigory, but now an unexpected guest arrived at the meeting, causing the 2 celestial dragons to become somewhat tense, since they could feel a power transcendental near the academy. Apparently the leaders noticed it and tensed in the same way. Tock tock tock. The knocks on the door were very striking, but the Queen of Mao, Lucifer, that is, Graphia, opened the door to let in 2 people. One was a boy of about 15 years old, but behind him was his Issei, or better known as his vanguard. In that case, the 3 leaders, they make a slight bow to show respect to this being of definitive class, while the boy only walks towards his seat and his Issei is on his back. But then 4 girls took a better look at the Issei, and knowing who he was, they did not hesitate to run to talk to him. Well, Yuma tackled him. Yuma, I missed you, idiot. I also missed you, Yuma-chan. But tell me, did you do what we talked about with that blonde girl? I tried, but she refused to join heaven since its organization is what caused her pain. I understand, but well, now a former nun of the church, it is a pleasure. The same for you 2 high-class heiresses and other supernatural beings. I am the vanguard of the god of destruction, Shiva. Now everyone was more than surprised by the revelation, so I asked Shiva for permission to talk about my time in his palace training, which he accepted, so I commented on what happened to me in these 3 months. In short, I went into meditation for a long time without eating or enter into a riot with no one, and at the end of that time fight against myself. I mean my soul and evil desires, overcome all my evil and malevolent desires. Said battle was almost impossible to obtain victory, but I achieved it by thinking that great power entails a great responsibility. Anyway, while that was happening, a girl appeared right next to me. She was very appealing with a great body, blonde hair and green eyes, wearing a blue dress. All the men looked at the appealing woman who stood next to me to kiss me on the lips. Then Yuma-san got very angry, so he asked for an explanation on the spot, but I had no choice but to respond. You see, Yuma-san, my powers gave me a legendary reward. Since I obtained some achievements, I was able to summon a legendary companion, but among some things the summoning was a super success and I summoned a legendary girl, which is my how to say it without you getting upset, Shiva. She is his fiancée. I gave them my blessing. Everyone was silent and surprised to the maximum to hear that, but then a karate blow hit Shiva's head from me. Shiva-sama, I told you that those comments were not allowed. Come on, let me have some fun, Issei. Gosh, anyway, this is Arturia and she is my girlfriend. We haven't gotten married yet. Yuma, You still say, well, I couldn't get married without you, Yuma. Apparently I played my cards very well. She blushed a lot to stand up and stand next to me. In short, it was a lot of fuss for Shiva, so we started the meeting to discuss the important points. Shiva, well, now I will talk about why we came to this meeting, and that is because, as you know, the world has problems. You have problems with Chaos Brigade, and we have a problem with that idiot Indra who wants a war against me, Azazel. You have to be joking, like a war between you two. In fact, Indra wants to fight, so he gathered very strong people to attack. That's why I did something similar and turned Issei into my vanguard, but now I come to warn you, if a war breaks out, it is necessary for you to choose a side, or be with me or in my against. The leaders looked each other in the eyes, because whatever side, it is a massacre that will come to the human and supernatural world. But the decisive vote is not even in them. The girls made the decision. Rias, it will be fun to help Issei to the end. We owe it to him. After all, he killed Kokabeel Rainier. You must accept Azazel leaders, seeing their companions or friends, sisters accepted only. They smiled to accept that. Being honest, going with Indra would be stupid since the gods on Shiva's side were stronger. Furthermore, Shiva was a peaceful god, even though the god of destruction was calm. But the most surprising thing was what happened after a proposal for a fight. Serve. Tell me something, Shivadano. You felt sorry for him, that's why you took him in. Shiva, it's a shame that it's not just luck that he agreed to join my side, but I guess you're not strong, since you're talking as if you could beat him. Shivadano, I don't know if you know the information, but I am the security. I think I am stronger than a human. Well, you can try to defeat Issei, but it will be impossible for you or for everyone present. He is incredibly strong. That caught Vala's attention, so he stood next to Saji and challenged me the same way. Then Shiva looked at me and said, Issei, what do you think if you show the power you acquired under my command? Of course it will be a pleasure, but I'll entrust you with the barrier. Take it for granted. Shiva created the barrier for the battle to start. Then Mao Lucifer warned me, Issei, you have to know that Saji and Vali are at the level of high-class demons. They are very strong. Issei, that doesn't matter, I can defeat both of them. Now start the fight. Saji and Vali used their balance breakers to jump and attack me, but in that moment two swords created in my hands appeared, one black and the other white, so that with a high-speed jump I could pass by their sides and destroy their armor and leave them defeated on the floor. Surzex, what happened? Shiva, Issei is very special when training with me. He acquired power properties of destruction from me. Although it is something tiny, he managed to enhance the blade of his swords with this along with properties of light, creating the strongest demon-killing weapon. Well, it works for other races too. The two celestial dragons stood up with their wounds visible, but they observed my body as a target and fired 8 impressive attacks of demonic energy, but I destroyed them all with my swords. But Vali arrived at my right side and Saji on the left to kick me in the face. The face and a fist in the stomach, that's how they threw me, and even on the ground they fired their strongest attacks to try to defeat me. Boom, a giant smoke screen formed, but now the two celestial dragons were satisfied to think that my defeat was possible, but great was their surprise when they saw that my body was only with some burns and nothing else. Issei, I must say that they are strong, their demonic powers are impressive, especially yours, Vali, but now it will take something more than that to beat me. Their attacks were strong, but with the physiology of the Saiyan and with so many times that I lost against Shiva and so much damage that I suffered, my body went through the Zenkais about 90 times, and now my body is much more resistant. In addition to having the god of destruction makes me more incredible, but I think it's time to end them. Well, it's time. You two are still not strong enough to defeat me, so I'll end this fiasco. Excalibur, another thing I did in this time that I leveled up and became stronger. I created a replica of Arturia's sword. It is very strong, not as strong as the original. I would say that my sword has 1/3 of the original power, but it will be enough. If you want to survive, put everything into defense, or you could lose your life. Seconds later, a golden flash could be seen rising to the sky. Then Vala protected himself with all his magic, but Saji tried to attack but failed. I arrived in front of the two, and the attack hit them to leave Saji half dead, and Vali was unconscious, so Arturia came to my side to congratulate me on the fight, and Shiva just watched very satisfied, and so the meeting ended. After the battle against the two celestial dragons, the leaders were surprised by the power I showed, but for me it was something basic. I said I trained with an ultimate class being with a very broken ability, but well, it's time to be in the present. Surzex, this is incredible. Shivadano is very strong. That's right, and he held back so as not to kill them, but well, Issei, I think that with that everything is ready, so let's go, or do you want to stay, Issei? As we agreed, I will go when you need me or order me. At this moment I think the best thing would be to be in Kwa, and even more so if they will be our allies. Well thought, that's it, we'll see you at the palace in a few days. Of course Shiva activated a magic circle and left, then Arturia took me by the arm and smiled to tell me, you have learned well to use Excalibur even if it is a copy. I had a very good teacher. Thanks for the compliment. While she and I were talking we saw how the factions approached us with curious eyes, so Arturia tried to summon Excalibur but I stopped her to leave her by my side and talk. Who want biblical factions? Michael, young Issei, you mentioned Excalibur, right? In fact, why the question? Well, I wanted to know what you mean by that since Excalibur is a sacred relic. A long time ago my life changed, I obtained a power beyond imagination. It can be said that it is the greatest power in the world. In short, that power allowed me to invoke Excalibur and Arturia. How is that possible? Well, the story goes back to 2 months ago. Flashback, it has been a month since Shiva and I were training, and thanks to that I was level 15, so I was able to buy the Saiyan physiology upgrade or skill. But one day while we were training a message appeared in my vision, birthday. Celebration event. Apparently the system gave me a reward since today is April 16th. My birthday, the rewards are of my choice. So I found the summoning of a sacred sword which was from the anime Fate Stay Night, the legendary Excalibur, but the process to summon it was very long. Stronger than before, so I asked Shiva to train with me in the Room of Time, and he accepted. That's how 2 years passed in the Room of Time to finish. That's how when I left my body and mind along with my experience were of level 25 was stronger, but I did the summoning process in the real world and something strange happened. The sword appeared but was held by a appealing woman with blonde hair, a queen's clothing and a perfect body. Shiva was surprised and somewhat blushed by the beauty of the woman, but she just ignored Shiva's gaze and looked at the summoner, that is, at me. Since that moment she has not separated from me, and so as time passes until the current moment we have met. We met and we fell in love. End of flashback. Azazel. Wait a second, like that system you're talking about, Issei? Well, that is a system acquired as a gift, but well, I can project it so you can see what I see. Everyone was surprised to see a video game system adjusted to be a weapon. Anyway, Arturia was a little bored by all this, so she took my arm as a sign that she was bored, so I stood up and got ready to leave. Issei, it was a pleasure to see you. Now we're leaving. At that time Yuma was still. She didn't know where to go, so I spoke to her. Yuma, what are you waiting to come with us? At that she became very happy, and so we approached the door, but I asked a question. Excellency, what are you doing in the demon faction? The little blonde looked at me and told me, I didn't want to join the church again. They were never interested in me. They only wanted to get rid of me because of my ability, but Rias-1 Sama appreciates me and her servants the same. I hope it doesn't bother you. Why would it bother me? It's your decision. You saved me, and in Yuma-san's letter she said that you asked her to take me to church. Don't worry, I'm glad you're happy. But hey, features, it was a pleasure to see them. Now we're leaving. So the 3 of us left, walking slowly. Yuma was a little worried about everything. Well, it's normal. When I left, a few hours had passed since she became my partner. She must be a little nervous. Tell me, Issei, do you still like me? That question offends. Of course, I like you for you, it's just that I came back to this place. But what happens to her? Referring to Arturia, who observed Yuma and looked at her with pride to speak. Don't worry, I'm not going to monopolize Issei, so don't try either. The 2 looked at each other and I could feel how lightning was flying from their eyes, but I decided to ignore it since there were more interesting things to do. Since apart from the demons, angels and fallen ones I had more work to do, which was to request the help of a very faction. Great with a god not as strong as Shiva, but it was something transcendental. While we walked through the appealing streets of the kingdom of Asgard, our guide Alice told us about the culture of these people, their hierarchies and so on. It seemed that Arturia was not interested in any of this. She only seemed interested when I asked her something, but that was all she could say. Was happening. We visited the training ground, the warriors' dining room next to the warriors' room, and finally we were going to the throne room where the Norse god Odin was. Apparently there was nothing interesting, even what I was looking for at the forefront of Indra. I got bored, and there was when we entered Odin's palace where he received us with a calm look. Primordial god of Asgard, level 75, moderate threat. It is recommended to use the aura of destruction together with UBW to kill him. I suppose that depending on what this god says, that information will be necessary, but hey, the best thing would be to introduce ourselves. Issei, a pleasure, the Norse god Odin. It is a pleasure to come and talk Odin. I say the same vanguard of Shivadano, but I understand that he came to talk about a possible union of factions. In fact, my job is to prepare the allied forces for the moment of fighting against Indra, so I await your response. Will you simply join us or not? The truth is I would prefer to be on the sidelines of these combats, but I know that a war between those two will be very problematic, and as a god leader I have to take care of my subjects. But what will happen if we do not accept? In the event that they do refuse any side, you will be allowed to help them if things get out of control. All wars leave marks, and this will be one capable of destroying the entire world, which will bring deaths to all factions in the world. Gulp. It was the only thing Odin could make him salivate. The words that came out of my mouth spoke the truth, but while we were talking, a seconds counter appeared in my vision. It was a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start the event. The door opened and a man in Chinese warrior armor and a girl in battle armor entered without a guard. Hi. Fence. Odin Dano having two meetings of enemies so close is something that makes him look very bad. Odin Indra's vanguard. In fact, I come from him, but I see that Shiva's vanguard is in this place. The man and I looked at each other and I invoked my swords while Arturia unsheathed Excalibur. The man did the same. He took his spear and pointed it at us along with his companion who had a sword. The four of us raised our auras and the castle began to shake, but no. Only that apparently caught the attention of two other powerful idiots who arrived, breaking the roof of the castle. The first layman with a hammer in his hand and the other with a kick bathed in aura. This can't be worse, Thor. So this is what you were hiding from us, Father. These beings are quite strong because we couldn't see them, because you are a powerful idiot and you will try to fight them. And what's wrong with that, Father? That if something happens we will have a war against Indra or Shiva further. Come on, Father, don't be such a party pooper. It will be fun to fight for a while. Idiots fighting against representatives of those two is unacceptable. Now shut up. The two gods saw each other and ignored Odin to get in front of him to try to fight, but Cao Cao and I saw each other at the same time and fired our strong attacks at the two gods to throw them against the walls, by Cao Cao hitting Vidar with a holy aura cannon while I threw Thor against another wall while he lost his arm. Issei. This is something fun. Odin-sama was thinking of reviewing the two proposals to find out which one was best for you. Odin didn't say anything, he simply watched the impending battle. Hi, so the time has come to fight for our gods, indeed, but killing you will be so easy. Indra's vanguard. Call me Cao Cao. Do you want? I'm Issei. Now I want you to leave with your partner or a battle awaits you. Well, it sounds good to me. Show me the power of Indra's vanguard. Cao Cao jumped with his spear and shot more than 12 waves of light, but shooting swords from my back I blocked the attacks and he fell in front of me to clash weapons with all our strength. While he hit with sacred power, I hit with power of destruction along with the power of light, creating considerable damage to the castle. But while we were fighting, Arturia jumped against Jean, who was having problems facing the bearer of Excalibur and Excalibur itself. Hi, what do you think this is? A somewhat dangerous technique was fired by Cao Cao, which was to shoot his spear and manipulate it as if it were a remote-controlled car, referring to the fact that where he moved his hand the spear moved, but using my two swords in my hands I blocked them all. To turn to the right and launch a rain of swords so that Cao Cao could cover himself, and using that as a distraction I arrived from the front and hit him with a kick in the stomach and threw him against Odin's throne to see how BLD it came out of Cao Cao's mouth, but he had his hand extended and I could feel how the spear pierced my back, although thanks to Saiyan's physiology he was unable to do critical damage. It was a very strong weapon, so he was somewhat injured. Hi, how come my spear doesn't go through you completely? That doesn't matter now, I know you're very skilled, but you know I have the advantage. Get out now, Cao Cao. What are you saying? This is just beginning. While the two of us were talking, Thor and Vidar, angry, tried to hit me and Cao Cao, but we sent them flying using our maximum power. Hi, Polar Knight Longinus Chakravartin Issei Shiva. So Indra tried to recruit the Nordics just like us, right? Issei, that's right, I had a meeting with the Indra Vanguard, and how is it very strong? The truth is he's just a Longinus user. I could have killed him, but I restrained myself. Well, it's interesting that you say that since he has the supreme Longinus, but I doubt he would manage to hurt you. But well, you scared the Nordics, right? Of course, so that they are the ones who come asking to join now. Interesting, good work as always, Issei, thanks for the compliment. How is the Prince of Azura? Well, he keeps training, he doesn't want to lose again, and knowing that Indra is going to attack soon motivates him to be stronger. I understand that may be of some use. By the way, you will attend the meeting with the Egyptian gods. As a destroyer god and main adversary of Indra, it is obvious that I will go, but it is too boring to go with those old men without vision. Stop complaining, Shiva. You were the one who agreed to go with them. Good, but there will be no more meetings with gods in a few months. As you say, see now we ended the call between us, and well, what can I say? It was night and Yuma was sleeping in my bed along with Arturia. The two of them were sleeping with me, but Shiva's call came, so I stood up and talked to him. But the strange thing is that as soon as I did, Angelica woke up with a bow and told me, I am ready for your services, Mste. That's why right now I'm in the kitchen preparing a snack for her and me while I try to talk to her. Well, Angelica-san, why are you awake at this hour? Why is the MSTR awake? WL, but you are not my maid, you are a battle companion, so you can do as you want. I want to obey the MSDR's orders. What do you think about this? Is there something you want to do? Something you want to do? If there has to be something, I say you arrived a day ago, but there has to be something you want to do. I want to execute the MSDR's orders, nothing more. This is harder than it seems in that regard. I looked at my state to find the bar of affection or charisma with the girls. The most surprising thing is that Angela was already at 100 without me interacting with her. The reason is that apparently she is a loyal servant until death, and I am not exaggerating, but at the same time apparently her emotions are a separate case since she doesn't have any. Apparently she is like in the anime and has only 2% emotions, but that is about to change, although this will cause me problems if the girls wake up. Well, Angelica, take off the top part of your clothes. I thought she was going to refuse, but without a second's hesitation she took off absolutely everything, but before she took off her I stopped her and she stayed still. I watched her gestures and she was calm. WL Angelica, this may bother you a little, but using my right hand I entered the menu to see Angelica's properties. Then I found that she is in her doll form where she has 2% emotions, but thanks to the fact that I have her in this state in the store, the human state was unlocked. The problem is which was worth $12,000, so I bought it without taking any importance and using a part of the menu that is to level up quickly. I merged the two angelics and the range of their emotions increased now to 60%. It was a great improvement. It was then. I continued with the order to check if it worked. Angelica, remove the bottom part of your clothes. Apparently now she was more conscious, but she still took off her breathes and was left in her underwear. I quickly stopped her and asked her to ask. Because you took off your clothes, you are supposed to be free to obey or not. I have more emotions, but I will still obey everything you say. Because you are giving me back my humanity. It is the most appealing thing that someone has done for me. And I see. Well, Angelica, what do you think if we go to rest? Clear MST. Or she tried to leave, but when she remembered that she didn't have her clothes, I told her to get dressed, and she did. It was at that moment that I saw my bed with the two girls stretched out all over it, so when I was about to go to sleep on the couch, Angelica, he took me by the sleeve of my shirt to guide me to his room, and that was how we spent the night together, to wake up with a scolding from Yuma, who was upset because he was sleeping with Angelica but calmed down when I explained everything. Issei, well, now Shiva left to fulfill the meeting with the Egyptian gods, so I have some free time, but since I have 3 and 2 are yours, they are too innocent to leave you alone. We will go on dates, but well, first some unexpected guests knocked on the door. The cause was none other than Rias Gremory, who came with a very big smile, so she asked me. I know you are a little busy, but I thought if you don't want to go to the academy pool, it is closed, so I will reserve it for my servants, and I thought it would be fun to go with you. The truth is a great idea. Thanks for this, Rias Gremory. Only Rias is fine. By the way, you have a new friend. That's right, she's Angelica. By the way, girls, prepare your swimsuits for the pool and enjoy. The girls put on their swimsuits to go to the pool to play. It was a very entertaining day for everyone since the only boy was me. Anyway, I had to teach the girls to swim. I mean Angelica and Arturia. When I did, I applied sunscreen to them. Yuma's back and I was able to enjoy a while of rest. Then Rias asked me, listen, if I'm not wrong, you were in Kwa before. It's not true. That's right, this is my house, but I left to find my way. It's ironic, don't you believe it, that your path left you here again. It's funny, but hey Rias, tell me something. Why the girls are staring at me? Well, it's because the girls are a little nervous to see you. I can know why. Well, you are simply something like a superstar or a very interesting being, but I hope it doesn't bother you. The day of the underworld meeting arrived. Apparently Shiva is training the Prince of Azura, and more importantly, he has a meeting with the other two pillar gods, so my job is to be the emissary of Shiva's words, but that was within my plans. He's not the kind of god who does this kind of thing, and right now I'm waiting for the girls to go through the magic circle. Issei, girls, we have a schedule for this meeting, so we must hurry. Angelica, I'm ready. Issei, I told you to put on something more comfortable. Angelica, but I am your servant. I do not have that privilege. Believe me, you have it. You are my wife with Arturia and Yuma, therefore I will not let an idiot use your body as an object of lust. Now can you put on something more comfortable and relaxing for yourself, please? Very good. She changed in front of me, but using a magic circle. To be honest, she was too appealing, but well, it's time to see my dear Angelica's outfit. Angelica, I'm ready. Issei, wow, you really are very appealing. Angelica, thanks for the compliment, but hey, these clothes seem more comfortable to me. I hope you don't mind. Of course it doesn't bother me, but hey, girls are ready. Those coming down the stairs were Arturia with an elegant dark blue dress and a appealing black-haired girl with a black dress. The three girls were ready to leave, so using a magic circle we transported ourselves to a kind of train where they were waiting for us. Rias and her servants, according to the explanation they gave me, cannot go to the underworld through a magic circle since the first time it has to be by train. That is why we are taking this means of transportation. Rias, I'm glad to see you, but where is Shivadano? He is in the palace training, but well, the one in charge from Shiva will be me, Hyodo Issei. And well, how are the factions since the meeting? Everyone is surprised by the fact that a faction as far removed from the others as the Egyptians are would accept the alliance. Well, Shiva is something that cannot be ignored, but well, I hope you take care of us on our trip. Of course, count on me. So our journey began, but I wasn't paying much attention since I was checking the progress of my skills. I can say that this game is quite interesting, but I wonder what kind of enemy will be next since I don't understand some of the missions. But well, while I was thinking, I decided to train a little, or rather study some grimoires of spatial, light, demonic and astral magic. But when I was about to enter, Angelica fell asleep on my legs, and so did Arturia while Yuma was lying in the same place. Angelica left leg, right Arturia, and Yuma knees. Issei, I guess it will be for the other one, so I caressed the hair of the three girls so that an advertisement would appear in my vision. Surprise event: defeat the guardian dragon of the sun and you will get a dark magician magic card and the spare skill summon monsters. You have to delete a skill, or defeat the celestial dragon Slifer to get a game card to summon her forever as your ally. The truth was that it was somewhat obvious that using the monsters was somewhat complicated since the conditions are the same as the game. It is somewhat complicated, but using a single card to help me was logical. But which card should I choose? I already have a knight, a kind of magical warrior, and a fallen angel. I wonder if I can fulfill that wish I had when I was a child. Thinking about that, I chose the Slifer mission so that the train began to shake impressively, alarming everyone. It even woke up the girls so that seconds later the train disappeared and a very large purple dragon about 15 meters appeared, but he was not my opponent. Rias, what happens? Issei, from what I see it is a kind of test, but unfortunately it is not mine. Where will you go to look for the jackpot? But well, Yuma helps Rias and her servants. Keep this in case they get very hurt. I gave him 4 hermit seeds and then Angelica and Arturia came to my sides. Issei, why can't I go? Because the enemy you are waiting for is an Egyptian dragon. Egyptian dragon? This is the celestial dragon Slifer. How do you know that? Intuition, but that is why I will go with them. Don't worry, I will train you very well so that you can assist us. Aquino, so this dragon is easier than Slifer. That's right. But well, Rias, I'll tell you their weak points. Rias, how can you know that? Issei, it is a scan of weak enemies. I can see how to defeat them easier, but well, it attacks their wings, belly and the back of the neck. Understood. Good luck to you. We rose to the sky with the 2 girls and the others went to fight, but I could see how Valet and Saji jumped to fight first and crashed against the wall spitting BLD, but it was obvious without a plan it is somewhat difficult to fight against a strong opponent. But well, we went about 15 kilometers away from the others' battle site to see a very long dragon that seemed to have no end, its crimson scales, 2 mouths and yellow eyes with an incredible power so strong that it was only a few meters away. 5 levels of Shiva. You are dark. No pharaoh. You need to channel magic into your hands to fire the spell. It's easy for you to say, we've been training in the time room for 5 months and I can barely make the dark aura emerge. Well, Pharaoh, that happens because he is thinking a lot. Magic is not like everyone thinks. You use calculations or predictions. It is more about putting all your strength and heart into a belief. Look at this, swords of eternal darkness. A group of more than 12 swords appeared and flew to crash into the ground, causing the environment to explode due to magical power. That's what I imagine magic is like. Imagining let all your feelings flow and give them a shape. Pharaoh, after the dark magician's explanation, I understood the fundamentals of magic somewhat, so I practiced a little more and managed to create what I wanted. The swords created by me now had aura of destruction, sacred and dark aura, so I deployed UBW to make a kind of maneuver with my swords bathed in those 3 types of aura, and by doing so I verified that this was a great choice. You are dark. Excellent, Pharaoh, but I think the girls have already finished training too. At that point I observed the girls. They were returning with their clothes somewhat torn but with very wide smiles. Angelica ran and tackled me to give me a kiss on the cheek. I missed you. I say the same, Angelica, but I see with pride that they are stronger, right? Girls, of course, Arthur. Also, Yuma has something to show you. At that point, the black-haired woman advanced and turned around to make her wings open, and I saw something surprising. It wasn't 2 or 4 at the time, it was 8 wings, black like the eternal night, very appealing. When she showed her wings, I could see she was stronger. Issei, I'm more than surprised. Yuma, now you're a high-class fallen angel. That's right, but training with them was horrible. They were very cruel. And I see Angelica, she said she wanted to be stronger, that's why we didn't hold back, but Tessu, don't you think it's time to go back? Arthur, it's true, it's time to rest. Very good, then let's go back. Deactivating the time room, we observed the place where we were, which was a gigantic room located in the Gremory family mansion, but well, some context. We arrived at the Gremory territory a few days ago, so Rias's servants and her went to train, while that I made sure to establish friendly relations with some families of the underworld, which are Gremory, Phoenix, Belphegor and Citri. Things started out as first small talk, but little by little we established good relationships of trust, and they will wonder where Shiva is. Well, he is talking to the faction leaders for the meeting. Zioticus, Isdano, I guess they're ready for dinner, right? That's right, girls, let's go. So we walked to dinner. It was more fun than I thought, but something strange happened. Apparently the Gremory were a very close-knit family, but while that was happening, a appealing woman with brown hair, purple eyes, and an incredible body appeared. Zioticus, thank you for coming, Natsums. Don't worry, Zioticus. And Azazel asked me for the favor of coming on his behalf, but hey, you must be Shiva-sama's vanguard, right? Indeed, but I prefer to introduce myself to such a appealing lady. I am Hyodo Issei, at your service. I bowed. She smiled and introduced herself to me. Natsum, I'm Natsum Minagawa, and it's a pleasure to meet you, Issei-san. So we all sat down to have dinner, but the conversation was boring. The girls were tired from what they ate and they went to bed in the living room while the adults left. Only Natsum and I were left. It was a pleasant conversation full of laughter and teasing for the 2 of us, but she said something funny. Natsum, well, I guess you like me, don't you? Because you said so. It's nothing strange, it's just that I'm very direct with things. Give me an example of what you say. Well, I must say that you are very attractive, I would say, so I can say that physically I love you and I love you. As I said those words, my eyes ran over her entire body, her appealing, well-formed legs, her watch-like waist, her large, well-formed beasts, and her princess-like face. When I remembered what I did, I reacted a little nervously and looked away to respond. Why, yes, you are very appealing, Natsum. That's better, but let's be honest, you have a charm and I'm complicated. Tell me, are you willing to try it with me? I don't lose anything, besides, it will be fun. What do you tell me, Natsum-san? Let's give it a chance. Well, it's something sudden, but it will be fun to hang out with you, but well, it would be better to leave it here for today. I agree, my princesses are a little tired, but what do you think if at the faction meeting we go out to dance a little? I'd love to. Natsum retired and went to sleep, but his heart was beating at 1,000 per hour just like mine. But using my arms I held Arturia and placed her in my arms next to Angelica to leave them on my bed to later go down and climb the magician. Dark next to Yuma was how we spent the days training or playing with the girls until something interesting happened. The 5 opponents looked at each other to find any opening, but the spectators observed how the warriors did not take a single step. Everyone was attentive to enter into combat, but in a second the sound of the wind flowed, and the first to jump to fight it was the god of thunder, who sent his powerful thunder against all the opponents, but they skillfully dodged it so that everyone started fighting. Joker vs. /Dog. The first duo to fight was the Joker of the Sky, known as the trump card of the sky, which has the Longinus that can control the weather Zenith Tempest, but the opponent the Agent of Shadows, the /Dog, who along with his partner a black dog Jean dodged Dulio's elemental attacks, so that Dulio, it's time Tobio-kun. Well, show me how strong you are. /Dog created a black scythe with a deadly edge, while Dulio created 2 ice swords and blocked the cut, but Jean jumped on the Joker's back with a scythe in his mouth and tried to cut the Joker's back, but he created a large tornado on his back, and using fire as a bond he locked the dog in a flaming tornado. To listen to how Dulio sealed the dog. Emperor's hammer above the tornado exactly in his eye where Jean was. A rain of high-level thunder came down and hit Jean the dog to make him succumb to the power of the tornado, leaving him injured, although /Dog did not worry, and using his other hand he created another scythe, and with 2 weapons in hand he destroyed Dulio's swords, and with a kick to Dulio's face he threw him into the air. /Dog, I must say that Longinus is very strong and your ability to control it is incredible, but you still underestimate me. My apologies. I hope to have a little more fun with you. When the spectators saw the 2 warriors they were surprised. Their levels were very similar, but now we are going with another battle. Serorg vs. Thor. The god of thunder jumped with his hammer to hit the air of Baal, but he delivered a punch in natural aura known as Tuki, and empowering it with his physical strength and sacred gear he managed to nullify the blow of the powerful Thor and destroy the stage due to the blow, but Serorg let the hammer pass by him, and when Thor passed by that place a kick hit him to throw him to the ground, but Thor got back up, and using his hand without a hammer he made thunder fall against Serorg to hit him squarely. But the powerful demon barely burned a little, and with a fierce look he jumped, and a battle between a god and a demon with the power of a Mao began. Azazel, this is incredible. Those boys are very strong. Serzex, Serorg is my cousin. He was underestimated and mistreated for not having the destructive power of a Baal, but neither Rias or I doubt him right now. He is fighting to show his growth, Michael, but now that I see, well, the only one who doesn't fight is the leaders. Observed Shiva, who is bored, so the destroyer god responds. Shiva, be prepared. Issei doesn't find it fun to fight with inferior beings, but it will be fun. Issei now. Upon hearing how Shiva communicated with me, I activated my UBW, and 1 sword was bathed in an aura of light and darkness and the other of destruction. Then I jumped to the sky where Dulio and /Dog were fighting to launch 2 cuts with the swords that were blocked by the 2 warriors, but their weapons were destroyed when they collided with the swords of light and darkness next to a destroyer, so that with pure force they fell to the ground spitting BLD. Michael, what happened? How did I do it? Shiva, Issei is using swords with the power of light and darkness along with the essence of destruction. Apart from that, Issei is using all his physical strength. In short, he is a human who can face me, so don't underestimate him. Odin, it is true when the 2 vanguards faced each other with a single cut they managed to defeat my 2 children before, but now it may be different. The 2 warriors on the ground stood up and Dulio fired hundreds of ice spears, fireballs, thunder and water blades. Issei, bored, making faster and more precise sword movements. In addition to raising the characteristics of the swords, a barrier was created nearby to avoid damage. In short, everything was useless, but /Dog came out from behind with his dog but summoned 6 swords that surrounded him. Those 2, Tobio and Jean, made him retreat so they could hit Dulio again with a kick, and with a powerful cut on his chest, the BLD came out of Dulio's chest, and he fell to his knees to finish him off with a kick to the face and throw him on the other side of the wall. Issei. 1 goes /Dog destroyed the swords and jumped to attack me head-on, and Jean attacked in the same way, but with a jump in the middle of those 2 I dodged them and exploded my aura to throw the 2 away. This is boring. Although I must say that they are strong, your power cannot defeat me. Shadow Agent /Dog. I sing for the death of 1,000 humans. I celebrate the death of 1,000 elves, the name immersed in total darkness, that of the god of imitation that moves through the polar night. You will perish by my own black sword. To be somewhat absurd, the god, creator, of the deformed. What a sinister power. But you still lack more skill to be an opponent worthy of me. Dog summoned what is a pack of dogs and the original hid in the shadows. Then the attack started again. He locked me in a kind of dark tornado where many cuts flew through my body, but I dodged them with minimal movements until Dog it trapped my legs and prevented me from moving so that many blades flew and buried themselves in my body. Azazel, that boy confided, I'm sorry, Shiva, but Dog is not an easy person to defeat. Azazel, you lack more perception. What are you talking about? The environment became cold as an armor or barrier appeared just before hurting me. Then the barrier was destroyed and the tornado exploded to throw Dog against a wall. Azazel, how did he do it? He simply has a broader grasp of magic than the possessor of that Longinus. What he did was manipulate the three magics at the same time and create an explosive barrier when attacking it. It was destroyed and the explosion attacked your shadow agent. Surzex, but how did he do it if he didn't cast a spell? Simple. The magic he uses is the different magical runes bathed in the three types of magic that he controls, so he does not need to formulate spells, he just needs to activate them with some energy. Odin, seriously, not even that type of attack managed to defeat him. Nothing can defeat him. He is below me in terms of power and skill, but apart from me, only the dragon gods can be above Issei's power. Maybe some gods will tie him, but no one will defeat him, especially now that his women are watching him. Dog watched the battle with wounds while his wounds tried to heal. But I approached him and created the swords with light magic. I trapped Dog's shadow so that he would not move, and on the other hand I buried 2 swords in his chest and stomach. This to defeat him. Issei, I must say that your power is very interesting, but unless you manage to overcome your barriers you are not a big deal. The final battle will be between the god of thunder and the heir of Baal, but this battle was interrupted by a number of swords with supernatural power. Thor, you come to fight with me, Shiva's vanguard. The truth is, I come for the young demon, although defeating them in time would be easy. I want to see how strong they are, so first I will go for you, god of thunder. I'll wait for you, Thor. I'll wait for you. Jumping with a little force I arrived in front of the god of thunder and he threw his powerful hammer to hit me brutally, but with light movements I dodged his blows to start the fight, just dodging, but when I found an opening I fired a kick at his chest to throw him against a wall. Issei, your skills are somewhat high, your strength is of another level, but you are a very weak opponent to fight against Shiva's vanguard. Show me what you're made of, brat. Well, try this, my strongest attack, Gate of Babylon. Numerous circles of purple, black and gold appeared on my back. At that moment, the weapons possessed different magical essences: destruction, light, black magic. But a magical circle was born with an aura mixed with divine power and took the shape of a sword. Spiral. Issei, yes, giving the signal with that sword in my hand, the numerous weapons flew to clash against the powerful defense of the god of thunder, who thought that his power would be enough to withstand the intensity of my attack, but it was useless. Little by little, a sword managed to pierce the defense and buried itself in Thor's stomach, so little by little they flew to cut parts of Thor's body to make him fall to his knees while he maintained the barrier with his little magic. VIP room. Odin, what kind of power is that? The essences are very high and those weapons are very powerful. Shiva, I think Issei's third girlfriend can answer that, so Angelica-san, do you have an answer? Angelica Issei, being my teacher and possessing high magical affinity along with a large amount of magical power, was able to use my ability, the Gate of Babylon, to summon legendary weapons when called, and thanks to its essences, it covers the blades of the weapons to create a more powerful weapon. But Odin, but what a lady! The weapon he has in his hand is the most powerful of all, equaled by Arturia's Excalibur. The battle of that god is lost. There is nothing he can do. You're being serious. That's how it is. The fight resumed again, and Thor, with more than 3 swords in his stomach and his entire body with wounds and cuts, was defeated and fell to the floor on his back, spitting blood. But Thor's power in a moment was reinforced. Apparently a powerful thunder fell on him. He fired the most powerful thunder in history as his last attack. He's fun but useless. Enuma Elish, raising the most powerful sword and firing his aura at full speed, the 2 attacks collided. The powerful thunder was stronger, but little by little the sword gained more strength, and in a second it surpassed all the force of the thunder to destroy it and hit the god of thunder to destroy his armor and pierce his chest to defeat him. There is no power that can surpass my sword at this point. Its destruction is equal to that of Shiva. At that point I looked at my last enemy, which was Serorg, so I was able to observe his power is high, but he couldn't reach mine, so my gaze collided with his, so I buried my sword in the floor, and at the same time both of them we jumped, and with punches we directly began to fight without using special skills or something like that. We fight only with our physics and will, but each blow is so strong that we make the environment shake, but nothing at this moment matters. Only being able to face the proud warrior in front of us was the only important thing, since that is everything important. Issei/Goku and Serorg/Vegeta. The fight was rising, but I did not plan to let myself be defeated, so using my training against Mahabali and Shiva I threw him into the sky, and in a lethal combo I hit him brutally, and super strength I destroyed Serorg's defense to throw him with a hammer blow. You are a strong heir of Baal. I can say that you are a warrior who does not need that power of destruction to be so strong. You were blessed with will and strength, but you know that you will not be able to defeat me, right? Ferg, I know, but I want to fight. I will show that I can achieve my goal, and I will fight against injustice for the underworld. You are a great warrior, but now is the time to end the fight. I don't want you to die for using a power that shortens your life. I know, but if this will be the last blow, I will give my best. I hope so. Serorg threw a punch with all his strength, but using the armor in an imperfect state caused his body to be overloaded, so he lost strength. That surprised me, so his punch hit my face to throw me against a wall and fall without his armor. Golden Issei dash. Magnificent Air Baal was a great battle. At that point the referee of the fight stood up and made the decision. Surzex, the winner of the fight, the young Hyodo Issei, vanguard of the god Shiva. The applause was immediate. All the spectators applauded and cheered the gladiators, but I walked to the exit to be greeted by my girls. Arthur, excellent Issei combat. Angelica, wonderful as always. Easton, just a great Issei fight. You are dark. I am proud. Pharaoh Issei, thanks girls, but this is something normal for us now. We have to go. Yuma, why did I say that? Because these days it will be the faction meeting and I want to spend some time with my girls as a couple. At that they all smiled and walked next to me so we could leave while in the VIP room. Odin, it's incredible, but Shivadano, if that boy is so strong that he needs an alliance with the factions, Issei's power is not perfect or absolute. As you saw, the attacks can still harm him, even if it is a little, and on the part of Indra and his gods, it is possible that he will be outnumbered, which is why I require the alliance. Also, if Indra sees that he is not, he has the slightest chance he won't fight. It would be very stupid if he did. Michael, on the other hand, where is Issei-kun going now? Shivadano. Shiva, he is free. He only helps me in important moments, but he is free. Apart from that, his women need attention, so I won't bother him for a while. Maybe he will have, that's right, he will commit to all of them and may fulfill the purpose of marriage with them, although more women will also come into his life. Being with him is very interesting. I understand, but Shivadano would mind if he went to heaven for a few days. I understand what you want to do, don't worry. But as I said, first I'll let that Valkyrie girl have fun. By the way, where is Odin? Odin. Alice is waiting for orders from her vanguard. Shivadano. I see. It's good to have fun. Finally, faction leaders, it's time to make this afternoon's final announcement. Leaders, we hear Shivadano. So Issei has discovered that the enemies who joined Indra are planning to attack Kyoto and destroy everything. The first step is Kyoto, so I want to send Issei and some members of his factions to protect that place. As you will know in previous chapters, the mission announcement came out destroying the lies. That mission was never carried out since it was something in the future, which is what we will see in this chapter now if we continue with the chapter. Issei, so the factions agreed to send part of their forces to Kyoto. Shiva, that's right, Rias Gremory's servants will go. Sona Citri on the part of the demons and on the part of the angels, and the fallen ones will go. Irina, along with Griselda Quarta, on the part of the fallen. You will take Yumison, right? I understand. The Nordics will send someone. Apparently your Valkyrie girl will be the support, but don't rush. Remember that first we will leave this faction meeting and then leave for Kyoto. Perfect, then we will see you at today's meeting. Yes, I finished my call with Shiva and observed the girls who were happy since about 2 days ago we started with the dates and today we finished. Now they are resting. Some playing in the pool of our temporary residence in the underworld and others are sleeping, but in this moment Angelica is sitting on my lap while I look at something from my skills menu. Angelica, Isasama, who is reviewing. Well, Angelica, I'm looking at some records of the history of the three factions. Because there are very interesting things in this. I can read with you, Issei. Of course, or would you rather I read for you, precious? At that she looked at me with a little shine in her eyes and settled better on my lap to listen to me reading. Well, according to the archives, the Great War of the Factions began in heaven or in a place known as the Garden of Eden before Adam. The archangel Lucifer observed the appealing creation of God, which was Eve. She was very appealing and pure thing that he captured Lucifer's heart, but apparently God saw it wrong that Lucifer fell in love with Eve, so he created Adam and united the two in marriage. Ne Issei-sama, someone can unite two people who don't love each other. It is something difficult to explain. Even in this time there are people who force others to marry for benefits or certain advantages. That can happen to us. What are you talking about, Angelica? Someone can force us to stop loving Issei-sama. That question hit me like a bucket of cold water. I said, I love them and they love me. That's why my chest hurts when I imagine that something would take them away from me. I couldn't continue. Taking Angelica's hand, I gently told her, even if it is a god who tries to take you away from me, I will destroy him. Thank you, Issei. Can you continue, please? Of course now, Lucifer took this act of God the wrong way, so defying the rules and calling his brothers, he started a rebellion for love, but that didn't end. While Lucifer fought for love, the angels led by Azazel fought for research and carnal desires. It was at that moment that God, upon seeing his creations revealing themselves to him, expelled the demons from heaven and sent them to the underworld, which was divided into parts, one for the now demons led by Lucifer and another for the fallen led by Azazel. Angelica, does that mean that demons were never evil and that fallen angels are perverted? Not all of them, but apparently now, according to what they say, the faction war lasted for thousands of years until the Great War ended when they lost their leaders and a large part of their forces. The factions observed the pain of the war, so the decision was made for a truce, but thanks to the actions of this time, peace was reached. Angelica, what else does that say, Sima? The files just end at this point. But hey Angelica, what do you think about sleeping? I'm a little sleepy and I want to be ready for the meeting later. So Angelica and I went to sleep to wake up with 2 hours left for the meeting. Angelica went to take a bath and I did the same but in another bathroom, and then I got dressed and went out to the living room where the girls were ready and happy. Issei, let's go, we'll be late. Well, I was just finishing getting ready. It's time. At that Angelica came down the stairs with a white shirt and a black skirt. Apparently that was her favorite dress. Angelica, how do I see myself, Issei-sama? Appealing. The truth is they all look appealing, but well, it's time to go, princesses. The girls gathered at my side and we went using a magic circle to get to the room of the big party, which was silent. Apparently we made a somewhat flashy entrance, but without giving it importance we walked where there was an empty table so I could sit for a bit. That's why the girls watched everything and became very excited, so I had to do what a man does in these cases, and I attended to each of the girls either with some snacks, dancing, or talking until I ended up exhausted. Destroying the lies. The mission will start in 10 minutes. Apparently the mission will start soon. What enemy will we have to face? While I was thinking about that, I could see an Alvina girl running out of the building towards the forest, being chased by Valet and Rias. Apparently something bad is about to happen. Well, it's time to use my latest acquisition. Ready, mate. A very small red sphere appeared in my hand to respond. I told you to call me Drago, Issei. So Drago, I want you to go get those 3. Take care of them, will you? Of course I will keep them alive. So the little dragon flew away following the other people while the girls were talking with Sona Citri and some of Ria's servants, while Saji was still training in the mountains, so I was able to walk with the leaders to talk a little. Issei, very good. From what I heard, the team to go to Kyoto is ready, but now another detail, the meeting to go to heaven. When is it, Michael? Well, first I want to tell you what this meeting is about, and the truth is that I will introduce you to the other seraphim so that we are on the same page. You will make the same trip to the other factions. It sounds tedious, but well, something more. Leaders, while I asked that, a magic circle appeared in the sky and destroyed the ceiling. Then I could see the cause, and my enemy was a Norse god. His name was Loki, but this god was very interested in the leaders. Loki factions gathered in this place will be killed by the god of lies, Loki Odin. What do you think you're doing, Loki? Father, it causes me a lot of pain that you join these inferior beings when, on the part of Indra, we have stronger gods. You are staining the pride of Asgard. Loki, if you leave now I will forgive you for this, please go. I will never let you destroy this. We'll see. Loki snapped his fingers and an ash-gray wolf appeared before us. This was a problem. The wolf itself was strong, but those fangs were deadly to any being, whether it was a god or not. But without showing fear or concern, I snapped my fingers and Angelica stood next to the magician. Dark took steps forward to create and say Angelica, cursed binding. The two attacks trapped the ash-furred wolf and left it motionless as it howled in pain. Loki, interesting but useless. Fenrir destroys the chains right now. The wolf got up, or so he thought, since when he tried he fell to his knees while his power was gone. So Loki asked in a very nervous way. What happened to Fenrir? Using those spells we use the power of Fenrir as a reserve for the ties. Now be still like a good dog and Loki, prepare to die. The time has come to destroy the lies. Loki, this is impossible. Nothing can stop Fenrir. Issei, it's simple. As they said, we use the force of the Fenrir itself to keep him tied, and more importantly, those chains alone can detain him for several days. But well, Loki, I will kill you at this moment as Shiva's vanguard. I cannot allow this type of act. Not only do I have Fenrir, you idiotic brat. Come on, my children. So the children of Loki appeared, 5 copies of the sleeping dragon Jormungandr and the 2 children of Fenrir, Hati and Skoll. Apparently Loki was going to fight seriously. That's how Arturia, Yuma, Angelica and the dark magician came to my sides. Shiva, do you want some help? Who do you take me for, Shiva? You know better? Well then we will entrust those idiots to you. Don't worry now, Rias Gremory servants have trained for a moment like this. The same for Sona Citri and her servants. So those who are going to fight take a step forward and the rest retreat with the rest of the civilians. None of the demons belonging to those 2 clans retreated, rather they reaffirmed their determination to fight. Issei, well Arturia and Yuma, you 2 go against Hati. Arthur and Yuma. To Issei, now Dark Mage, you will be Angelica's support against Skoll. Dark Mage and Angelica, of course. Lastly, the Jormungandrs are strong, so go in trios. 1. Yura, Irina and Zenobia. 2. Kiba, Gasper and Momo. 3. Ruruko, Tsubaki y Nimura. 4. Akino, Sona y Tomo Meguri, leaving only a Jormungandr for me next to Loki. Then lowering my hand the battle began, but now we will focus on our protagonist Loki and Jormungandr versus Issei. Jormungandr shot a large fireball at me, but using UBW I created 2 swords, one black and the other white, to cut the fireball, and when he made it look like that dragon copy tried to swallow me, I jumped back while changing swords. To a bow and summoned 3 arrows each with a different power between darkness, destruction and light. Boom, the dragon received the arrows inside its mouth and upon impact with the dragon's body they exploded inside, surprising the leaders because of the ease with which it killed that copy. Then Loki, seeing that act, very angry, jumped against me to hit me with a punch. But in moments like this, training with a first-level god like Shiva helped me, and I dodged those attacks without any problem, so that in a deception I faked a feint to hit Loki the latter. He protected himself from the feint, but using my legs I jumped on his back and shot 3 more arrows so that they exploded in Loki's back to throw him against a wall. Don't get me wrong, Loki, you are strong for being a failure. But if I defeated Thor and the other warriors of the factions, what makes you believe that you can defeat me? And I did not expect such great power from you, human, but it is true that I may not be able to defeat you on my own, but if I use that girl's power, yes, although it is a disgrace that I, a god, lower myself to your level, I will show you the power of infinity. Loki crushed a black snake that was in his hand, and his power increased by 5 times to be more dangerous, and look at me with pride again to shoot hundreds of magical circles. But using the Gate of Babylon I summoned hundreds of weapons, and thus all my weapons collided against Loki's spells, caused many explosions, but my weapons little by little overcame Loki until 3 swords were buried in his chest and stomach so that fresh blood came out of his wounds and mouth. How did this happen? You never had a chance, Loki. Only an idiot dares to challenge a warrior without knowing his power. In this case, you underestimated me when you thought that I was a human, and that was your ruin. A god as pathetic as you deserves to be mocked. And it's not possible. How do you overcome Ophus's blessing? You know, blessing from a god or whatever, it doesn't matter. I am the vanguard of Shiva, therefore I will destroy any enemy that crosses the path of my god. Now I will finish you. You are lucky. You will be eliminated by my most lethal technique using multiple magic knowledge that I acquired during this time. I created an attack as powerful as Shiva's at its maximum level, but this attack can only be used once a month, so I will finish it with my ultimate to have an extra reward. Hakai, the multiple barriers, projected a small sphere which flew at a speed impossible to detect for almost everyone except Shiva and I. Finally, the sphere hit Loki in the chest, but in doing so his magical powers were destroyed seconds later, his body and finally his soul. To leave only dust falling on the ground, but in that moment I could see that my arm was burned by the power. I guess it is still too early to say that it is a success. Maybe in about 5 levels more I will achieve it. Shiva, magnificent, worthy of my vanguard, but Issei, that attack was intended for Indra. Don't worry, I can always replenish my strength and practice to improve the attack. But now, as you see, faction leaders, the strength that my women and I possess was capable of annihilating a god and his children, who caused fear in you. This is a test. If the enemy comes, as long as they are with us, they will be the winners. The faction leaders were impressed and afraid to see such a lethal power in the hands of a human, and the most dangerous of all is that the person or god who touches that boy will be destroyed by Shiva himself. But well, seconds later the other battles ended. But in the distance you could see how a giant red dragon arrived flying with Rias, Valley and Kaneko injured. Dear, I must say it was unfortunate to see. It couldn't have been that bad, or if Drago, the red-haired girl, is strong, her magical powers are top-notch, and from the way I see it, that power of destruction, when it is at its highest point, will surpass that of the god Shiva. Shiva, what did you say? Drago, the power of destruction of that girl is very high, so much so that if she controls it perfectly, not only people or living beings but also the barriers of space and time will be destroyed. But the problem is that she cannot shine that power without a good coach. Issei, what he means is that Issei, apparently you can train someone else. Shiva, I know. It's just that seeing that my power of destruction can be surpassed bothers me. Come on, Drago only says it to annoy you. Not for nothing you are the god of destruction. Apart from if I see it with my magical eyes, she is at level 15 and you are at level 90. You have increased your level by 5. You are still the strongest god by him. Shiva moment. Thank you, Issei. That cheered me up, and regarding that girl's training, I think I'll entrust it to you. May I know the reason for this? I will simply go with Mahabali to declare war once and for all, so I will mobilize part of our forces. I will entrust you to train this girl and protect Kyoto for our peace treaty. As you say, that's how things got calmer. Apparently I became Rias Gremmerison. It's a very interesting thing to be able to train a demon with such an interesting gift, but while I was thinking about it, another advertisement for the gamer system appeared, and that's how the next thing happened, and that was, congratulations, you have reached level 75, now choose your prize, choose your reward. Well, among the rewards I saw, this is the best, so I choose the Flames of the Storm. At that point, a ring with a red gem appeared on my middle finger so that everyone could see the gem, and as expected, everyone asked about my new power. Shiva, Issei, that ring, what is it? According to what I see, this is one of the Flames of the Last Will. Many rings appeared, but I chose this one. Now I will give you a simple explanation. With their disintegration feature, they can decompose and break anything they touch, including other dying will flames. The core of this flame is red, while the rest is pale pink and the edges are crimson. Shiva, this is very good. Issei, it seems your power of destruction is now more concentrated, and with this I don't think his defenses can even think about protecting themselves. Azazel, it's interesting, but tell me something. Issei, that ring can destroy everything. Well, sometimes it has limitations depending on the power of the wielder. But just so you understand, if I wanted to kill a god, the flame would consume a large part of my power, but it would destroy it completely without the opportunity for it to come back to life for its believers. So a deadly weapon for everyone. Don't worry, Azazel, I'm aware of the risk of my power, so I'll use it wisely now if there's nothing else to do. Rias, I want you to prepare. We'll go train with your servants to see what they're made of. Rias, Odin say, what are you going to do with Alice? If she finds us using this magic circle, I will be waiting for her. Perfect, I'll let you know about this. Very well, faction leaders, the meetings in your factions will be after the trip to Kyoto, so I am looking forward to that day. Turning around, the girls approached my back and, using a magic circle, transported us all in the direction of a specialized training field for my powers. Rias, this place is incredible, Issei, but how will we train? It's simple. I want you to awaken the true essence of destruction. The power can take certain forms depending on its user. It can take forms or certain characteristics. An example of that is that my weapons are bathed in aura coming from my powers, meaning I can learn to do something similar. If we train it, it can happen. So first I will be very clear for this time that we will train. I need you to obey my orders without hesitation. Very good. So Valley, you have to go train somewhere else out of respect for the girls. It's clear. Paint, I guess it's something to expect. Very well, I'll go north about 15 kilometers from here. Perfect. So Valley flew away and the girls were ready for my orders, so I spoke. Issei, first let's take off our clothes and leave only the interiors. The girls looked a little nervous, but Rias and Aquino did it after a few seconds thinking, and so did the other girls, showing their blushes in a very tender way. Issei, well, now I will show you this trick. Magical powers are attracted to the bodies of all living beings, and that happens because the bodies require a certain level of magic to be usable, but in outstanding creatures or supernatural beings that power is such that they can use it as a tool. In this case it happens like this now. Invoking a bottle with a black liquid, I drew black circles on the girls' hands and a kind of circuit in their entire nervous system superficially so that they sat on the floor due to the overload of power. Then they became pillars of light and represented because of their hair colors. They all shone. Rias, I heard that. It's happening. Well, you are impressive, but now with that substance your powers are converting the magic in this place into your main energy. This will be the first months of training until your bodies can do that whole process alone. Very good. But what should we do? For the moment imagine that your powers are traveling to each cell of the body, and when you master it, visualize the form that that power has. So the girls trained the use of that power that was very new to them. Then Aquino was the first to take shape, invoking about 4 pairs of fallen angel wings, and her lightning bolts rose to the sky to shoot a storm of lightning bolts which hit the ground. And I destroyed it greatly. On Zenovia's part, she raised her sacred and demonic aura again to imbue the blades of her swords with those 2 magics, creating a duo of sacred and demonic, while her eyes shone a very strong green and her arms broke, but the pain never. I hit her. Zenovia, what happened? Simple. You let yourself be carried away by the power and destroyed the way out of that power, but using magic I covered your body to protect yourself. Now try again, but remember that you are entering into balance. I will keep that in mind. Thanks, Issei. Christmas warm that makes me recover completely, but she couldn't do anything else. Asia, Issei, and I can't do anything, of course, if it's just that now you need a way to project your aura, so use this, creating a bow out of nothing. I gave it to Asia, who took it with her 2 hands, and a green arrow appeared. Then I shot some air to break some trees, but Asia shot her green arrows, and these trees were rebuilt after 5 seconds. Incredible, and that's nothing. I know how horrible it must be to feel useless. That's why I give you this, a kind of catalyst in the form of a necklace. Reached Asia's neck, so I explained. This necklace will make your healing aura become a destructive aura. This will make you stronger, but you must practice. It is clear. Hey Issei-san, good girl, now try to shoot as many arrows before you run out of energy. Let's look at the range of your magic power. And we arrived with the penultimate girl, who is Kaneko the Alvina, but she had certain problems due to her secret side. Issei, I see that you can't do anything. Kaneko, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter that. I want to know why. Even when you have such extraordinary power, you don't want to use it. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, let's talk about the enormous power that is on your back. At that moment, a white spirit cat came out from behind Kaneko's back, and within seconds Kaneko released her Nikomata state to appear somewhat annoyed by using that mode. So a Nikomata, or rather Nekasha, can know why you didn't use your powers. You wouldn't understand. Believe me, I understand, but if you don't want to talk, that's fine. Lastly, there was Rias, who showed some difficulties in her way of thinking about her power. On the one hand, she can be a sorceress-type warrior, but on the other hand, she can be a magical warrior. You have to let the power flow, don't contain it. Rias, but what if it gets out of control? Don't worry about it and let it out at that. Rias little by little released her power to show a terrifying crimson aura, but more importantly, her body was changing. Her clothes, just as the power of destruction took the form of a sword and now 4 pairs of them appeared on her back next to her sword. That took us more than 3 months, but since this place was a time room created by Shiva in the real world, it took 2 weeks, and with just that the girls awaken the essence of their power even though they cannot access it without a SWH, but they have come a long way. Rias, thank you for this, Issei. Don't worry now, if you want to train again you can come with me, I will be happy to help you. We can continue training with you, Issei. Of course, yes. But at this moment I will go to Kyoto for my mission. If you want to wait for me, that's fine, but I will return in a few days. Okay, we will wait. Excellent, then take care. I kissed the girls on the cheeks and with a jump we left that place to run to Kyoto. Arthur, Issei, we know of this place. It is just a city of yokais, but apparently Shiva is worried that Indra may force them to join them. It is better to see the situation and act accordingly. It's interesting, but right now I'm feeling the power of those 2 idiots along with other humans with sacred gears. I guess they have captured the capital, so it would be better to investigate. Stopping the flight to Kyoto, I made the girls fall to the ground since a barrier was covering the surroundings of the city, so I had to check the physical and magical composition of the barrier. Very good, girls, I will do this. This barrier is somewhat strong since the pillars are scattered, and since we are in covert mode it will be the best. Angelica, I deny myself my duty and I wish to be with Issei-sama. You are dark. It's true, Pharaoh. You can't go alone. We don't know what enemies are in that place. Maybe there are gods. Yuma, we also train for this. Issei. This is very simple. I will just go to the city center to destroy the Kyoto cores. By doing so, you can enter immediately. Arthur, I don't deny that this idea bothers me, but at least take Angelica. She is the only one who can go with you, as a letter will be a good support. If that makes you calmer, that's fine. Then Angelica, forgive me for this. Angelica, don't worry, Issei. I will do whatever it takes for your good. It shone in golden light and faded to be a letter, so I took it in my hands and kissed the girls to use black magic with the power of destruction and formulate a disturbance in the barrier that lasted a single second, in which I managed to enter, and so my infiltration began, but not before calling Angelica again to leave together. But what we saw when we entered the city was something very appealing. Angelica, Issei-sama, this place has high amounts of magic. It is something abnormal, I know, but it's interesting anyway. Don't separate, it's clear. We'll go to collect information. Of course, Issei-sama, the kingdom of the yokais was fine, or so it seemed, since in the center of the city they were making an announcement and the person who was making it was a companion of Cao Cao. It was Heracles who was announcing an execution or penance, which was to expose a appealing blonde woman, her naked body. Heracles, well, as you know, your queen did not want to surrender, and now we have taken this city. That is why all those who oppose are being prosecuted and some are executed. But to avoid it, this woman agreed to strip naked and please them to protect them. So Yasaka, the time has come for you to save to your subjects. Yasaka was crying, and in a second she was about to show her body, but a powerful fist bathed in black magic and the great idiot Heracles flew directly into the sky, so that he crashed with such force that the magical barrier began to disintegrate the body and it exploded. Angelica, Yuma, the barrier is being destroyed. Take that woman now, Angelica. Issei-sama, no low hair. Take her. Upon hearing my voice in a strong tone and exploding aura, she lowered her head and approached Yasaka to take her, so I told her, I'm sorry, I just don't want you to see what will happen. I know, Issei-sama even cares about me in those things. When I leave her in a safe place I will come to fight by her side. Very good. Angelica left with Yasaka, and at that moment the traitor yokais pointed their powers against me, but invoking my 2 swords with a small jump I dismembered them all, and left that place converted into a bath of blood and limbs so that a half-dead Heracles could approach, but with a kick I stopped him. If you had not tried to humiliate her I would have spared your life, but at this moment I will be the embodiment of the wrath of the god of destruction. I buried my sword in Hercules's stomach and began to burn it slowly until I ripped it off, and with it one of Hercules's limbs, so that he screamed in pain, but asked him in a calm voice, where are those who oppose this alliance? I won't say. Nothing. Well, it's interesting that you think you have a choice when you're at my mercy. Now speak. Heracles did not want to talk, but I destroyed his body part by part until I left it completely destroyed, but Heracles did not want to talk, so I did the best I could do. This ability is something interesting since it is useful for idiots like you, so you are lucky you will be the first soul to devour. I placed my hand on it and recited the magic words. Invitation of the soul. A blue sphere came out of the lifeless body of Heracles and I held it with my hands, then I put it inside my mouth and the soul disintegrated so that I would obtain the important memories and know what happened in this place and how it was that they achieved all this by discovering it, jump onto a building and analyze the memories. Arrival of the hero faction in Kyoto led by Cao Cao. The heroes kidnapped the yokai leader Yasaka and thanks to a traitor in their ranks they achieved that goal in a simple way, but to avoid attracting attention they used a yokai in the position of Yasaka's advisor and she betrayed her and sold all her money. Information along with the people who supported her to instill fear and show that the best thing is the union with Indra, but Yasaka tried to fight, but every time she tried they murdered her servants or friends, for that's why he reached an agreement with Heracles, the man in charge, since Cao Cao and George left. So they used such dirty techniques dimenu Indra, but from what I see there is an opportunity to destroy this without the two leaders in this place. There are only 4 and before they play dirty I will make my own move, raising my magic power to the maximum. I created a super barrier for the girls and me which was covering the barrier but more importantly was allowing those idiots to have no opportunity to communicate, and at that moment the girls arrived so we could plan a strategy to save the others. Arthur, from what you say, they are in the dungeon of the Imperial Castle using their souls as fuel. For this you have to make a lot of fuss, it is clear, Issei. Of course, and while I make the fuss, you and Yuma will go to the dungeon that is being guarded by Siegfried and free everyone. Yuma and Arthur, to Issei, now Angelica and Dark Magician, we will attack the heroes, and to support us Drago dear, count on me mate. Perfect. Now, if this is ready, it would be better to leave. We will save those idiots so that it will be easier to kill the others. Clear mate. So the plan was decided and launched amidst many problems, but everything was under control. The plan had been decided, Angelica the Dark Magician and I were about to start the attack against the heroes, the distraction being with Drago who was in Bakugan form, so the first attack was given by me launching a sphere of power of destruction along with the power of light and it exploded in the Imperial Castle. Angelica, Issei-sama, I think you exaggerated, they must be dead. Don't worry, I adjusted the force of the impact so that it was superficial, it wouldn't bother my appealing. Angelica, thank you Issei-sama, I really want to fight. I know. At that moment, Leonardo and Jean emerged from inside the destroyed castle, and behind her a golden fox was growing to the point of measuring about 10 meters or maybe more. Leonardo, who are you idiots? Issei, I am the vanguard of Shiva-sama, and at this moment you will be killed for your actions against the world of Kyoto, so you will suffer at my hand. Leonardo, they are very idiots. Cao Cao and George will arrive in seconds. Why don't you try calling them? I'll give you that time before I take revenge. Leonardo tried to talk to his leader but he couldn't do it, and at that moment they understood something, and that was that death was in front of them. So Leonardo, who didn't know about my power, created hundreds of monsters and sent them to fight, but Angelica invoked the Gate of Babylon, and with this active I kill all of Leonardo's monsters without even shaking Leonardo. What was that? Angelica, I can't allow you to attack my Issei-sama, so die in silence, brat. Jean, remembering our strength, tensed up quite a bit due to the power released from us earlier, but at that moment the giant fox jumped to hit us, although it was useless since Drago attacked her brutally to throw her against the barrier, while Jean, checking our danger, took Leonardo and they tried to escape, but magical ties joined them, and when they were about to leave the barrier they returned to the center of the field where we were. What happened? This is revenge, so you will be the ones who will suffer now. Make yourself comfortable, you will be a gift for the yokai queen when we save her. Now Angelica jumped at Jean and kicked her face to throw her against a wall, while the dark mage fired hundreds of explosive spells with which she prevented the creation of Leonardo's monsters, while I just watched the battle from the sky while sending a small warning. Indra, I suppose you know that soon I will assassinate you. What you do and what you seek to do is something that I will not allow, and as the vanguard of Shiva-sama I will assassinate you, but now watch how my girls defeat your warriors. With that I destroyed the magic circle and enjoyed the spectacle of how those two idiots were defeated in such a simple way, although while that was happening Arturia and Yuma came with us, but the yokai queen was not there because of what they explained to me. Arthur, she is not Issei. Explain how they are not according to Heracles' memories, they are in that place. We only found corpses, and from what we reviewed by killing that idiot Siegfried they murdered all of Yasaka's political allies by this time. I see warning secret boss unlocked special event the power of karma. At that moment I threw the girls to the ground to summon 10 swords that radiated dark magic to create a protective barrier, and after the second I found a woman with blue hair, horns and eyes with crossed pupils. Arthur say, who is she? While Arturia was asking, I was doing my quick analysis. I noticed several things. Issei, don't fight her right now, she is an immortal dragon. Tiamat jumped with great force to try to hit Arturia and Yuma, but using a skillful movement of legs I managed to stop her fist, and with my bare left hand I hit a cannon of dark aura and sent her flying against the sky. Issei girls, defeat those idiots, I'll take care of her. Angelica, you will be of course, appealing, I'll just beat up this bad girl. So the girls jumped up to fight the idiotic heroes while I walked slowly to the place where Tiamat was to find her without any scratches, but her eyes showed an almost eternal emptiness. Issei, I suppose Indra gave you Armida with golden apple, a deadly drag for dragons dash. I guess this is good anyway, I'll try not to kill you now, come on. Tiamat jumped at me and spread her dragon wings to get in front of me, and with a kick she hit my X defense created by my arms, and faster I hit her with a headbutt so that she fell to her knees, causing her to be stunned, but with a kick bathed in the power of light I made her spit BLD, but she still stood up and tried to attack, but I stopped her blows with my bare hands. This is very boring, as I have heard in the legends Tiamat was the strongest dragon queen of all, but now you only show me such a pathetic side dash. Tiamat little by little got up, and with her wounds, she shot 6 spheres of blue fire ready to hit me, but jumping on them I grabbed Tiamat's head by the head, and with a quick wave I landed 2 kicks on her face and hit her so hard that her body, he flew against the barrier to scream in pain. Issei, the problem with that drag is that it is impossible to free you unless it goes for something beyond magic, and that will be your female instincts. So forgive me, but I will have to hurt you invoking my 2 swords. I jumped against her, who was throwing blows with all her aura, but I blocked them without problems so that she would continue to hurt herself by making excessive use of her aura, but in a carelessness, I buried my 2 swords in her legs to leave her immobile, and I placed my bare hand on her face, and raising my power of dark magic and the power of light, I raised my fighting instincts so that my spirit would enter her and explode, causing her longing to fight. They destroyed them, then she fell to the ground, and I walked slowly to see the girls fighting. It was a big surprise when it was over. The girls were sitting on the ground and smiled at me, but Tiamat ran against me to hold me by the neck. At that point, the girls were about to attack her. That Tiamat kissed me. Thanks darling Arthur, what the F happened? She was drugged with the drink of the gods, the Armida, and with that she was just a doll. The way to get her back was simple, by defeating her, making her feminine instincts emerge, and according to the legends, she will become my partner. But now Drago, what happens to her? Yokai dear, this is complicated. It has a host at its core. It seems to be a 16-year-old girl. I'm coming to help you dear. I'm ready. Issei, perfect. Then how we practiced. Drago jumped against the giant QB, and using his front paws he grabbed the QB's arms to throw her into the air, but she observed something in the sky, and that was that I was falling at full speed on her, so using her 9 tails she treated me to hit, but using magic of all types known to my system I created 2 giant arms of power with which I blocked all the blows of her tails, and when I got in front of her I hit her with a devastating hammer blow that knocked her to the ground, and by creating hundreds of chains with the help of the dark magician we managed to stop her. Yuma, it's impressive, but how are we going to get her out of that Issei trance? Arthur? Well, Issei can always kiss her and make her his. Arturia said jealous. Then I approached her from behind and held her by the waist to kiss her on the neck. I'm sorry for bothering you, but it was the only way to save her. I will be pampered at night, of course. Then it's okay Issei, thank you, and well I think that with it will not be necessary, since that form consumes large amounts of power. It will be difficult to maintain it for more than 20 more minutes, so we just have to wait. This is how we waited for that time. She woke up little by little, and her yokai form disappeared to enter human form. Angelica Thisima, we must go again with the yokai queen. It's true, then let's take this girl with us and catch those idiots and let the leaders take charge. At that moment a giant staff destroyed my barrier, and the bearer of that blow was a small man with a pipe and the appearance of a monkey. Sun Wukong, I see that's why this place was sealed. Issei, Sun Wukong, a servant of Indra, you come to take these idiots away. That seems like Indra is a very childish god sometimes, but if I don't comply he will get angry, so I hope you understand. I can't let you take them, so tell me, do you want to fight for them? Why young people have so much energy at that moment when I was about to fight? A magical circle from Shiva opened in my ear, so I sighed and said, Issei, apparently Shiva wants me to take these two kitsons. This time I will spare your life, son Wukong. Next time I will kill you. Let's go, girls. Jumping into the sky, we climbed onto Drago's head and flew at full speed until we reached the place where we left Yasaka and took her in our arms to go to Mount Kailash, where Mahabali and Shiva were waiting for us. Shiva, Issei, I see that you did very well. Well, it's my job, but I think we should finish with Indra once and for all. I know that's why we reached an agreement which is quite interesting and less destructive. I hear you. We will hold a tournament between our allies, and there's a tournament of 12 battles. Indra and I will also participate because of what I called you before you kidnapped those idiots. They will fight for Indra, right? That's why I leave you the responsibility of choosing our warriors. It can't be. It's your job. You're the leader of this. The truth is, you have already reached a level of divine class very close to mine. Apart from that, you are my right-hand man. This is your debut, so it's up to you to decide. That being the case, we will fight together. Issei team participants 1, Shiva 2, Mahabali 3, Issei 4, Deer 5, Rhea 6, Aquino 7, Arturia 8, Angelica 9, Oscura itself 10, Paint 11, Tiamat Shiva. Interesting lineup, but one missing at that. The yokai woman who was fighting Drago stands up and says, Sarah, I will fight them. I don't know them, but they saved me and Yasaka-sama, so I will fight, please. Issei, perfect. Now you'll wonder why I chose those two girls, and it's true. Shiva, indeed, so you can answer me. Rias has awakened her power of destruction, and now with her sword she is able to wield a power capable of tearing dimensions and killing gods. Although it is a great risk, this is very useful. Well, but the fallen girl of the Gremory, why yes, and your girlfriend no. Yuma is strong, but Aquino at this moment has an aura of light and darkness. For being a hybrid of a demon and fallen apart, by accepting her gifts she has managed to be at the level of being a high-class fallen, and due to her maternal inheritance she has 2 contracts that they can make it stronger. Perfect. Finally, why was it worth it? He reached a state of superior balance breaker known as Empyrean Juggernaut Overdrive. His power already enters a higher category. Well, it is true that he is strong, but tell me something, do you think that with those members we will be able to win? Of course we are the strongest, but well, if that's all, I'll retire. I'll entrust Queen Yokai and her friend to you. Of course, thanks by the way, Issei. Don't worry. So using a magic circle we returned to the place where they were training. To a surprise, they were all asleep, and I don't blame them. They must have trained a lot, but that's how my mission in Kyoto ended, with saving the lives of Queen Yokai and her Issei. But in the middle of the night a message from Shiva came to me in a secret magical circle. Shiva, Issei, now I can talk. I assumed you would call, but what happens? Indra captured all the yokai civilians, the nobles and Yasaka's daughter. So that he has them captive, a support for us to carry out the tournament, but at the time of fighting we can free them, but it will be done in the last battle when Indra cannot stop us. So when this tournament starts we will do reconnaissance to find out how they have captured them. Perfect, then we have to make this the most entertaining game so that idiot doesn't suspect anything. Exact. Very well, count on me. Shiva, gracias. Issei, are not necessary. So we finished communicating, and 2 days passed where I spoke with all the girls and those involved with their factions to prepare. It was at that moment that the tournament and the date were decided. Ragnarok World Tournament category. Last mission. It is recommended to update evolution points. Estimated time 4 months for the tournament prizes. Summoning a new champion and extra abilities with a chance for a good ending. All participants have already been informed about the Ragnarok tournament to fight the enemy, which is Indra. The factions have prepared all kinds of resources for this tournament, but well, we will focus on our protagonist. Issei, well, Tiamat and Sarah, you are participants for this tournament, but you are very weak. Heavenly God Indra chooses our enemies. It would be best to train them. Sarah, what kind of training will we have? Issei, we will simply release their power. Normally that would take a long time, but since this war is under my responsibility we will train in my domains. They will be stronger, but I warn you I will not be a kind teacher. Tiamat, why Sarah? Let's train then. Perfect. That being the case, girls, all go to the time room. Let's see what you know how to do. So all the girls jumped into the time room so that in the end I would jump with Tiamat and Sarah. When they arrived, the girls undressed the upper part of their bodies, leaving only some bandages on their chests. But without giving it any importance, they began to train. Tiamat, what's the first thing, Issei? Well, first, Tiamat, you are the strongest dragon queen of all, and Sarah is a high-class yokai with great power. Using that power will make them more dangerous. Now, Tiamat, the dragon's power can take shape, but it can also transform. I want you to be able to get everything out. The power of the dragon in that human form, I don't think it's possible. It's something I've tried to do but haven't been able to in all these years. Well, I can teach you now, Sarah. You have the power of the silver fox god, which makes you problematic. On the contrary, it is something very useful since you can stand up to annoying people like that old monkey, but to do so you need to train, and you will do it with me now first. I need you to raise your auras to the maximum, and before you do, put on this. Do you want to? Taking out several bandages from a magic circle, I pass them to the two girls to explain. Issei, first you must remove the upper part of the clothing. This will help you gather more energy with the help of the bandages. This being the case at the end of the first part, you can remove them and you can dress the bandages in the meantime. The girls did as I told them, but I had to turn around. I say, I don't want them to think badly of me. I am their coach. Apart from that, this is not the time to think about those things with a group of women who can be jealous. I prefer to wait anyway. They are done. Fix, and two great auras were born. From them very high powers. Tiamat, what is this power? Well girls, that power is mine. I'm helping you since I will increase your magic reserves so you can use more power. So first I want you to meditate on how much power you can store and triple it until you can't. That will be enough for these 10 months. Sarah, why Tiamat, 10 months, but the tournament will be in 3. Issei, calm down. This is my training room known as the time room. In this place a minute is a month. We will train 10 months 10 minutes. That is the first part, so when you are ready we can start. The girls became very serious and prepared to start training, but while that was happening, Arthur, this is fun, don't you think, Yuma? The truth is that it scares me a little to think that that tournament will be against strong opponents. I am worried about Issei. Issei is too strong a man. Don't be afraid of him. Besides, he is doing this for us, you know it, right? Yes, I know, he wants the world to have peace so we can be together. Then we can only prepare whether you fight or not. We have to be ready. Angelica, Arturia is right, so we can't stay behind. Let's go train. You are dark. It's true, so let's surprise Issei. The girls were motivated to train alone, the same with the BGMI girls. We all partially separated these 10 months to increase our powers. Monty Meru Indra, from what you're telling me, that brat is strong, right Wukong? That's right, he has great power. To be honest, I don't think I'll be able to beat him. Haha, very good. Wukong prepares Prince Neza, and I also want you to train those idiots. I will call the other reinforcements. Reinforcements? The goddess Nyx, Herboss and Hades want to help me, so no matter how strong that brat is, we are already 4 primordial gods apart. The pressure of having the yokais captive gives us the advantage. This war will be fun and I will be able to kill Shiva to prove that I am the strongest of all. The gods are truly terrifying. Thus the two sides began their preparations for the confrontation, but returning to our friend and protagonist, the 10 minutes have ended and the time room is destroyed, revealing the women with the usual appearances but with a definitive feature, which is that their eyes, they have the same shape as Tiamat's. Something like this, that was the evidence that now her powers were on a higher scale, implying that the training was a success on the part of the BGMI girls. They managed to increase their powers greatly. Now Rias was able to generate cracks in dimensional space with her sword. Akino was able to manipulate light and darkness, becoming a false goddess of the two essences. On Asia's part, she managed to shoot arrows of healing and damage with unerring precision. On the part of Irina and Zenobia, they reached a state of meditation with their swords that overcome the limitations to be able to exert greater power when carrying the swords. And last of the BGMIs is Kaneko, who became a 3rd level Nikomata. They were stronger, just as the same was planned with my girls. They became much stronger. Talking about Arturia, she implemented magical projection to create another sword, fighting with a 2-sword style. Now with Angelica, her powers have managed to create a magical membrane with which she can attack with different elements, which can be light, darkness, destruction. On the part of the dark magician, she managed to create a new magical style together with Yuma. Now everything was simpler, only those two were missing. Issei, very good Tiamat, I see that you achieved what I asked for. This aura is denser than I imagined. I feel much stronger, Issei. It's because your powers have been awakened. but I want you now to try to maintain that membrane of magic at all times. As you say, and finally, Sarah, do you think you can achieve what I asked of you? Sarah, the truth is I have only managed to transform 5 of my tails into those of the fox god. Little by little you will achieve it, but that is very good. We will win this stupid war and we will save the hostages. I know, and I thank you for that. Don't thank us, we will just do the right thing. Although our time has been focused on training for the tournament, there are still obligations that I must adhere to, so I moved forward with Shiva's work a little and started the meetings in the different factions in which I was requested to increase our ties, and while that's what happened, we trained so as not to lose energy. Arthur, Issei, aren't we supposed to rest a little so that the body adjusts? It is partly true, but this as such is not training. We just finish making pending appointments. Well, as long as it's fast it's fine. Don't worry, we just have to visit heaven and we will finish. I know, it's just that I feel like this tournament is dominating you, Issei. Now you only think about that. You are right, but I can't help it. We are facing the god who can equal Shiva and his subordinates. If we lose, the world will be destroyed and you with him. That's why I can't stop thinking about the tournament. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I was scared of what would happen after that fight, although it is true the only problem would be Indra and Prince Neza, but if I know something well, it is that the gods are evil but Shiva is different. Knowing that he is so powerful makes him ignorant of the fears of others. That is why my duty is to protect him, but now my most important duty is to protect my women, and for that I need to focus everything on my purpose. Arth, Issei, I understand how you feel. Really, of course I am not the strongest unlike Shiva and you, but the love I feel for you and the love that the girls feel for you gives us courage to be able to face this horrible tournament. They really are very cute girls. Taking Arturia by the hand, we entered the 7th heaven where all the seraphim were, who upon seeing us gave a very honorable greeting, and we talked about meaningless things such as increasing the magical defenses in the area to avoid incidents of stowaways or intruders, but well, let's say some context. Heaven and Asgard are interested in a kind of barrier. Since the problems with Chaos Brigade are still present, it is necessary to implement a barrier powerful enough to keep the kingdoms safe. That is why we are in this place. Michael Hisano, as he sees the models for the barrier cores, they are unstable since a flow of low-class power can burn the circuit. It is best to use a series of random runes so that the circuit changes constantly. Can Isidano do that? It is simple, but it will take me a few hours to do it in this place, but at the moment I don't have much time, so I will make a beta barrier. Snapping his fingers, a barrier without visual limits trapped the entire sky. Inside the barrier, the dark magician, Angelica, Yuma and I created runes in the barriers and they began to move throughout the magical circuit. Michael, this is awesome. Isidano, don't worry Michael, but for the barrier to remain it needs to have a powerful power source so that it doesn't fail. I think I know what we can use. That being the case, I'm leaving soon. I have to go to Asgard. Thanks again. It's nothing now girls, let's go. With those words we left heaven walking, and the girls tried to get closer, but they understood the weight that was on me. The whole world depends on the battle that was fought, and although they want to help, the responsibility is on me, but they know how to encourage me. And that is when we got home, I went up to my room to try to think. But then the girls came in with their pajamas. Issei, girls, what happens? Arthur, we just want to sleep with you. Issei, of course, come. They settled on the bed and hugged me. Then Yuma spoke. Yuma, Issei, I know that you are afraid and you carry a big problem, but we are not decorations. You know that, right? That's clear to me. So don't push us away. Issei, if we lose, I want my memories to be happy. Yuma, at that point the girls sat on the bed and placed their hands on mine so I could watch them. Arthur, as Yuma said, we will be with you until death, Issei. And if that moment comes in that war, we want to keep your smile and your love in mind, so don't push us away. You are dark. It's true, Pharaoh, you have given a lot for everyone and it is our time to give something for you. That's why we give our lives, so don't take us away from you, just count on us. I stood up and hugged the girls to kiss them all gently. I needed to hear that to keep my sanity and to be able to affirm my thoughts, but everything was fine with the girls by my side. I can't lose and I won't let anything hurt them. But like this, a new problem arrived. Surzex, Issei, can you come to the underworld? I'm a little busy, Surzex, but tell me what you want. The truth is I just want to talk. What do you want to talk about? That they will be able to win this war. Don't worry about anything. Rias has improved a lot and her powers are impressive, so don't be scared, and anyway I won't let anything happen to the girls. Really, thank you for everything. Don't worry. But hey, I'm leaving. the girls are sleeping and tomorrow I have to go to Asgard. So I was able to sleep to go to Asgard the other day and create the barrier so that they would be safe. But there is no other choice. Time passed and on the day of the start of the tournament, all the factions were gathered in the Colosseum that Indra and Shiva created, which had a capacity for more than 600,000 spectators, and well, the presenter chosen by Indra was Jin, who was completely beaten. And hurt by Shiva, he chose a warrior from the church known as the strongest man in the world, Vasco Estrada Jin. The tournament that will decide the fate of the world will begin, and the team led by Shiva-sama is made up of 1. Indra-sama, 2. Vaisravana, the protector of rain and the head of the 4 heavenly kings of Buddhism, 3. Virudika, ruler of the wind and one of the 4 celestial kings, 4. Dhritarashtra, god of music and a celestial king, 5. Virapaska, king of the west and last celestial king, 6. Arjuna, son of Indra-sama, the powerful prince of heaven, 7. Sun Wukong, the monkey king of the journey to the west, 8. Chao Chao, leader of the hero faction, 9. Nyx, goddess of the night, 10. Hirbas, god of darkness, 11. Hades, god of death. The spectators who were on our side were scared when they heard the name of the enemies we were about to face. But in a moment Vasco Estrada took the microphone and began the presentation process. Vasco wrote, on the part of the opponents and protectors of the world, the team is made up of the leader and the right hand of Shiva, the god of destruction, 1. Issei, the herald of destruction, 2. Mahabali, prince of Shiva's forces, 3. Dragonoid, boasting a power greater than that of an evil dragon and a dragon king, is the powerful Drago, 4. Rias, princess of the underworld with a power of destruction greater than that of Shiva along with exceptional charisma and power, Rias Gremory, 5. Aquino, daughter of the fury of the sky, the cadre who leads the Grigori, the princess of the storm, Aquino, 6. Arturia, a legend in history with her sword art and combat skills, rose as the queen of knights and led with power, she is Arturia Pendragon, 7. Angelica, queen of Uruk, the extinct kingdom with 1,000 treasures and absolute control over all of them, she is known as the queen of Babylon, Angelica, 8. Dark magician, coming from ancient Egypt with black magic that can hurt the gods, the dark magician is presented, 9. Vale, descendant of the original demon king. He has the power of a Mao and a celestial dragon. Considered a miracle, he is Valley Lucifer. 10. Tiamat, known as the power of karma and lethal judgment, the most powerful dragon queen of all, her name is Tiamat. 11. Sarah, last but not least, is Yasaka's personal guardian. Her name is Sarah, the girl who possesses the soul of the fox god with which she can fight her enemies. Everyone was calmer since upon hearing that presentation everyone looked at us with hope and became encouraged. At that moment Indra and I walked to the center and stared at each other. Indra, so you will be the leader of that Shiva Vanguard team? That's right, but don't worry, when we fight I will cut off your head and place it in front of Shiva as a symbol of my loyalty, then when I win your women will be the prize for my men. At that moment a blow made Indra fly so that I jumped into the sky to hit him more, but Shiva stopped me since the tournament was about to start, so he told me, Shiva, calm down, Issei, he will try to get into your head, you shouldn't let that happen. I know, it's just that I couldn't control myself. Do it for them, Issei shows who is boss in this place. 2. So Indra laughed again and the presenters gave us orders which were to roll a dice each to choose the scenario and type of game along with the participant that the king chose for the first game. A kind of battle took place in a haunted house. Vasco wrote, this is the first challenge. Now each captain will send his best scout to capture an object that was stolen. If they do, victory will be certain, but if not, it is a more serious problem. Anyway, the battle is about to start and the chapters are about to finish. I hope you like them. They are short chapters because I don't like writing halfway. Maybe tomorrow I will bring a normal chapter so you can enjoy it. Anyway, we won't see each other. Bye bye. Vasco wrote, well, on the part of Indra's warriors, the Monkey King is sent to travel to the west, Sun Wukong. At that the old monkey stands up and jumps to the sand where Issei's chosen one was about to arrive. Shiva, tell me, Issei, do you already have the chosen one? That's right, but the opponent in this test is quite annoying, although now is very strong. It is true that drinking the elixir of the gods gave him the will to acquire a new power, so it is time Vale from the stands. The named man stands up quite excited since by acquiring such an impressive power he needed to test it, and now his opponent was a strong being, so the two participants got into position while Vasco Estrada and Jean explained the rules. Vasco, this is simple, a replica of the city of Qua increased 5 times was created, and in it are a group of 1,000 enemies, including dragons, demons, angels, fallen and yokais created with magic. The task is simple, there is a hidden sacred relic, they have to destroying it or bringing said relic is worth absolute victory. Jean, but if they defeat all the enemies they will also win, only that the fewer the enemies left will be as strong as the Maos or some gods, and as time goes by their powers will increase. You have 40 minutes to find it or destroy it, and finally if you defeat each other it counts as a victory. Vale and Wukong watched each other so that in a second they were transported to the ends of the city of Qua and the enemies were ready to fight. The moment Vasco Estrada gave the order to start, the enemies jumped at them. Issei, it seems this challenge will be difficult. Shiva-sama, I don't think so, Issei. But old Wukong created 100 clones, he is covering ground quickly and killing the enemies, but remember, you chose Dragon Boy for a reason, now just believe in him. You are right. On the screens you can see how Vale in his normal BXB kills the enemies easily, but unlike Wukong he is alone and the enemies, seeing that, try to attack him to finish him off. Paint, don't get to this point to lose. Vale bathed his fists and kicks in dragon power and destroyed the enemies in front of him, but each one was stronger and stronger, but Vale was reaching the center, but old Wukong moved forward and was facing the strongest enemies that were guarding the relic. Wu, you are late, young man. You may be old but you still have a long way to go to match me. If you think so then I will get serious. The enemies jumped over Vale and threw him to the ground, all over him. Wukong, apparently you are just words. At that moment, when the old man was about to enter the building with the relic, he noticed that the atmosphere suddenly became cold and the enemies who were hitting Vale were dying. At that moment he heard a chant. Paint, the one who lives in me is the white dragon Albion. I am the silver white dragon of supremacy. Come on, come to my power, who has granted me the silver white star, and let us dominate the throne of dawn. Shiny black, the color of the infinite god Xian awakens power of the father of demons. We leave supremacy and accept the truth. At that moment Vale's armor destroyed everything around him and left a appealing armor, but the chant still continued and Vale's power destroyed everything around him. Vale y Albion, our brilliance will dissolve your kingdom and your kingdom bows before us. At that moment everything was destroyed, the buildings were gone and the relic was destroyed. But now as things were, everything would be solved with a battle. This is how the old monkey jumped against the white armor, and in a second the clones of the old man were disintegrated and reduced to nothing. Indra, so they decided to use the elixir of the gods to increase their powers. Shiva, you wanted a stupid war and now we will confront you with everything to protect the world, but even with that Wukong is a fighting god, he will not lose. We'll see. Wukong fired his sacred staff to hit Vale's armor, but the armor blocked the attack and the old monkey created 10 more clones and each one had his staff, so a rain of attacks came and all hit the armor, managing to hit it and scratch it. But Vale deployed his skill and hitting the old monkey with a punch in the face, took away half of his powers and used them to repair his armor. Paint, apparently not even a god like you can defeat me. Dash. Rabaste me poder para repairer tu armada. This is boring, but I think it's time to defeat you. I have a reason to win and I cannot disappoint people who believe in me. Then it's time to defeat you. So, Big Bang. The monkey transformed into a kind of monkey from hell and created thousands of clones, each with giant staffs bathed in fire. Apart from that, they created chains to trap Vale and burn him with sacred aura and senjutsu. Sun Wukong, rest in peace. Brat, the destruction of those attacks managed to crack the barriers and destroyed Vale's armor, leaving his upper part destroyed and full of wounds. The old monkey was about to leave, but he heard a loud laugh, and when he turned around he saw how a punch landed in his stomach and he pierced him so that he fell to his knees. Wukong, how did you do it? I am the Hakuryuko of the Morning Star, and now it is time to claim our first victory. The monkey sent his clones to kill Vale, but the next moment, Satan compression divider, all the enemies were destroyed and the monkey was disintegrated. At that moment the first battle ended and victory for our protagonist came. Vasco, The winner of the first event is Valley Lucifer. Everyone applauded and cheered while Shiva looked at Indra proudly. Indra, so the brat murdered Wukong. Of course he not only sent it to another place but have Shiva snapped his fingers and threw the monkey with Indra, who noticed that the monkey's powers were completely disintegrated. Indra, I see. Well, it would be better to prepare for the second meeting. Thus the first battle ended and the second was being presented. Jean, well, the second event is simple, which is a race around the world, a circuit created by uniting the lands of the 7 factions. There will be relays of 5 people, as expected. If the opponents are defeated, it is a point to win. When reaching 7 worlds, take the 7 points. Shiva, well, Issei, for this challenge, how will you organize the contenders? Well, considering that it is a race through the 7 worlds, resistance and strength will be needed apart from being able to create an impact throughout the journey, so the alignment will be 1. Oscura itself 2, Mahabali 3, Sarah 4, Tiamat 5, Rias Vasco Road. On the part of the participant Issei's team, the 5 contestants are ready. Jean, and from the Iandrasama team the competitors are 1, Nyx 2, Hirboss 3, Prince Neza 4, Hi 5. Finally one of the 4 heavenly kings and the ruler of the wind Virutica. The spectators were more than ecstatic to see such an incredible lineup, but everyone gave more importance to Shiva's team since it was quite powerful. Surzex Issei-kun. Don't worry, they will win, just watch. Is that the opponents are high-level gods? Calm down Surzex, they will surprise you. Now watch. The chosen kingdoms were Asgard, Helheim, Nilfheim, Muspelheim, Alfheim, Vanaheim and Jotunheim. The race will be traveling from kingdom to kingdom. Remember that if you are defeated it counts as a point. If the entire team is defeated the other team obtains the victory, and if they complete the race they win. It is easy. Now the first competitors will go to Helheim and then everything will continue as planned until the last world where they can choose whether to continue or change. Participants Vasco Road. Well, it's time. Dark Mage competitor and Nyx to the starting point. The Dark Magician looked at me and I caressed her hair. She was very nervous. Apart from that, almost all the spectators doubted those chosen by me, except me. Dark Imp de Pharaoh, do you think I can win? Of course, my appealing magician, just concentrate and do your best. 2. She became happier and then took her magic staff and sat on it so that at the moment the game presenters spoke she recited a rather long spell, and that was how everyone arrived at their waiting positions except the Dark Magician and Nyx. Nyx, you know, sorceress girl, when they lose, I will use that boyfriend of yours and teach him many things. It darkens me. What's going on with these deaf second-class witches? Nyx was about to talk more, but when he realized it the presenters gave the signal and the Dark Magician said the last part of the spell. It darkens me. Blade of eternal night curses my enemies and consumes their souls. A black blade pierced Nyx's stomach, and at that moment she flew out with her staff to start the race. Indra, what trap is this? Shiva? Shiva, as far as I know, those 2 started the race for what was valid, or perhaps it seems unfair to you even when you sent gods against us. Th. The Dark Magician was flying at full speed, using more spells. She managed to boost herself and match the divine speed, so she flew at full speed, but while that was happening, a group of young demons was searching the dungeons and rooms of that place for the hostages. Kiba, they have found something. Serg, nothing. We enter all the places and we find nothing. Regulus, my lord, I do feel some yokai presence, but I think you will not like it. What are you talking about? Regulus. Saigan me. They all walked until they reached a room blocked with seals and curses, but using the demonic sword created by Kiba's BXB they managed to cut those seals and observed that all the yokais were captured in Goddess Amber while they used their life energy to charge the Indra's weapon at full power. Sarorg, that BSTRD is using them to cheat Kiba. The final battle will be between Shivadano and Indra. But to ensure that nothing gets out of his control, this weapon in his possession has the ability to strike down any opponent and has absorbed more than half of the yokais. Regulus, my lord, if this continues like this, when you reach the end, the weapon will be complete and even Shiva will not be able to last long against it. Sorg, kiss, I don't like this, but we have to do this quickly. From what I know, Goddess Amber is an extremely powerful and durable material, so I don't think we will be able to break it without giving signals to Indra, but I'm not one of those who stays undone. Nothing. So Regulus, 2. Sarorg, why Regulus, my lion. King of Nemea. You who have been called the King of Lions. answer my roar and become my armor. As expected, since Issei and Indra entered the sphere of reality, all allies and enemies began a great pitched battle. But the fight that everyone expected to be resolved was the one that was taking place in the sphere. Indra, tell me something as you can see if your enemy is strong, or not tell me something can you feel that at this moment? I know you are strong but I have been training to be able to defeat idiots like you so I don't need to check your power. Insolent Indra launched a blow with her weapon and fired 1,000 lightning bolts but I activated Angela's ability and blocked the lightning bolts completely to slide through them and land a kick on Indra's face. Issei, I have long been training to be stronger than you. I have perfected my power and you are garbage, a being without honor, and that is why I am the vanguard. Of Shiva I will murder you. Indra was angry. For him, it was impossible that a human was cornering him, but the biggest problem he had was that the enemy in front of him showed a power that evolved with each passing moment. He was not clear what type of power he was witnessing, but he was clear that only one of the two was going to come out alive. Indra, now more serious than normal, bit the top of his right thumb and with the BLD he created symbols on his body. Warning: mission in progress, difficulty increase from 4 stars to 6 stars. It is recommended to make the corresponding improvements and prepare for battle. Issei, since you are 6 stars above Shiva at this moment, I suppose this is your true form. Indra now had 6 arms but his skin changed. Now it was dark, and as if that were not enough his strength tripled, but now he had 2 more heads. It was a kind of divine transformation until he ended up destroying a large part of the sky just with his aura. Indra, I have not come this far to lose against a demon human. If it is necessary to set my soul on fire and with it the heavens, so be it, but you are going to die. Indra jumped at full speed and with his 6 arms he hit me all over my body. Now his speed and strength were of another level. That explains why he now has 6 stars. The biggest problem is that his strength is increasing to the point that my system is receiving the sign that it will rise to maximum power 7 stars. Indra, all this power was to kill Shiva, but I will kill you first. I was injured and it was difficult for me to concentrate due to all this new power, but then I realized something very interesting, so I lowered my defenses even more, letting him hit me with everything, and the truth was it was the stupidest idea in the world since each hit was capable of murdering me, but my Saiyan physiology kept me alive until Indra took me by the skull and buried me in the ground. Indra, die you demon imbecile. He fired what appears to be a wave of deadly destructive power which crossed my chest. At that moment, the countdown to my death appeared, consisting of 5 seconds, but in less than that time I ate a hermit seed and what I was waiting for happened. I had a super Zenkai, but that was not all. I made a somewhat excessive purchase that required sacrifices. Store warning: if you continue with the purchase you will lose armor, acquired skills and mastery points for this new and unique item. Issei, just tell me if the girls will still be by my side. If I do it, affirmative, they are part of this reality now. Then make the purchase at once. Understood. Confirmation: all loot sacrificed is equal to the potential of a 7-star SSS. Sacrificing at that moment, I could see something terrifying, and it was that this power was not going to have limits. I was giving up all my achievements, powers and treasures for something that, although it is insane, if we talk about it as only power, it is necessary since the next one is my final enemy. Completed purchase. Shadow Monarch Dog, you want to implement the features and abilities of this new power. Do it. It was something surprising. The universe was left in absolute darkness for 10 seconds, but then something radiated light. There were 2 giant eyes that were outside of this planet, but they were so big that everyone could see them. But when 10 seconds passed, new armor appeared in front of Indra. Issei, the rule over the shadows. Indra's hair stood on end. His instincts begged for mercy in front of him, a being beyond the divine class. Warning: be sure to remove the limiters. Yes, removing limiters. Indra invoked his Varja and fired the most powerful attack in his entire arsenal, with which he destroyed half of all the forces, both allied and enemy, or that was the idea, but the now ruler of the shadows stopped the attack with a single hand. Issei, Nirvana. Those simple words created an area of complete darkness where Indra was held in chains. Issei, you will pay for everything you have done. I put my hand into his chest and held his soul to hurt him due to the influence of darkness, but Indra was far from being defeated. He raised his power even more and created light to burn me, and with his 6 arms he tore off one of mine and threw me against the sky. Indra, no matter what you do, you are not going to beat me. Indra threw my arm to the ground and looked at my wound, but shadows came out of it and trapped my arm so that it stuck to me as if it were new, and in that arm I created a spear. Issei, absolute darkness. I tore space-time and sent more than 10 cuts. Indra was thinking why no attack hit him physically, but the answer came when he saw that he lost his 6 arms in the past. Indra, what was that? Issei, now I am a being much more powerful than you, and I did all that damage in the past. Now I will kill you, or well, to be more exact, I already killed you. Indra could not believe any of this, but he could see how all my power was enveloping the planet. It is easier to say that I am everywhere, and thanks to this new power in time I am a fixed point, something like a nexus being. Indra was thinking about how to survive something she does not understand, but in a second she realized this power exceeds logic, but there is something that cannot overcome the destruction of the entire world and everything that lives in it. Indra, ever never Akbasil. Indra did so, sending all her aura to the center of the planet, but not only to that place, but using the magical veins of the planet, she managed to reach the factions of the entire world, and, as planned, she made the world and the factions explode. Imminent destruction. You want to go back to the last save points? Of course not. I'm going to stop it. At that moment I did something similar to Indra. With all my power I reached all the factions, but not to save them, but to send them to a save point. While I was stopping the destruction I was losing my powers, but I was succeeding in that. Indra came to me and he crossed me with his rod. I'll gain this? Of course not. At that moment I absorbed all of Indra's residual power. I had managed to save the world, but the power had to explode somewhere, and it was at that moment that I knew that my life was a small price to pay for saving everyone. See you never. Girls. Indra, why don't you die? Boom. I locked Indra and I in a very small but resistant space. The two of us disintegrated, and with that the war of the gods ended. But the price was something that no one imagined: a hero, friend, companion and loved one sacrificed. The girls left angry and sad. They abandoned the world to live in anonymity. The factions had peace and honored my sacrifice, and I, well, system, oh, you want a second chance.